Good evening, students. So we're meeting after a gap of 2 weeks. Okay. So first, what I'll do is we'll revisit what we have done in the first 2 classes. Okay. Then we'll start and let you know the chronology that we will be following. Okay. So, okay. So first thing in the class that we had the first class. Okay. So first thing we talked about syllabus. And then we talked about previous year's question paper. Okay. Then we have not even started the syllabus. Okay, technically we are dealing with the terms that will help you because the quality of question has changed. Okay, first they used to ask that who will decide over the 10th schedule. First they used to ask that what is Article 14, equality before law and equal protection of laws. Now they are asking what is the best definition of state. So where it is given what is the best definition of state. Whatever information is there at your disposal, you have to find an inference from that. Now they are asking what is the best definition of liberty. Now they are asking what do you mean by constitutional morality. Now they are asking what is a constitutional government. What best defines a constitutional government. So 15 to 17 questions are there. Out of 15 to 17 questions, 6 to 7 questions they will be asking directly from facts. Sometimes facts which are crude in nature, which are very minute. 3-4 questions they will be asking for everyone who had dahi in the morning and came to the center, so that he is also not discouraged. So what is the full form of Niti Aayog? Okay, so basic question. And next 6 questions they are asking from concept, because they know that all the important material we are already bombarded with information. And concept based questions cannot be done. What they are doing, if they see regarding Lakshmikant, it is the best compilation of notes. But what is actually happening, what I am witnessing after interacting with students, one question beyond Lakshmikant, one question behind, and you are trapped. For that, conceptual clarity is required. From 2019, why the cutoff is going 92.77, that is less than 50%. Why? Because they are asking conceptual questions. So we have to see there is a convention that is being followed for many years, but UPSC wants to break that convention and take conceptual students, and that is what they are doing. Of course, even if I don't say you will buy Lakshmikant, Tata McGraw Hills, whatever I say, some or the other person will make you feel that if you have not bought Lakshmikant, your COVID vaccine is yet to be completed. Okay, so you will buy, needless to say. So that is an excellent compilation of facts without a shadow of doubt, but when it comes to conceptual clarity, it will not do justice. So that is why I was concentrating for 6 hours on constitutionalism, constitutional morality. Every batch I have done, first question 2021, constitutional morality is hardly taught. Okay, first question 8 January 2001, what do you mean by constitutional morality? What are the Supreme Court cases related to constitutional morality? First question. I was dictating a question in October that powers of CBI with federalism. Okay, so how it was related to federalism? 7th question this time. What do you mean by CBI? What are the powers of central agencies with federalism? So they are actually asking implied questions, questions that are inference based. For that, your conceptual clarity should be absolutely clear. And fact, undoubtedly, you must be ready with the facts. So first we did syllabus, previous year's question paper. Then we did what do you mean by constitution? This is the basic thing that we did. What do you mean by constitution? Then what was the 4th thing? Constitutional morality. Okay. Then you have constitutionalism. Okay. Constitution, constitutional morality, constitutionalism. Then you have separation of powers. So who gave this doctrine of separation of powers? To what extent Montesquieu? To what extent is this there in Indian constitution? Kya paradigm hai? What are the provisions in the constitution related to separation of powers? All the things that I am writing on board, first I will clear these things again, then only I'll move. Okay, this is something which now we will do after this. We did the doctrine of separation of power, but there is a what you call younger sister of SOP, that is doctrine of checks and balances. Okay, checks and balances. This will be the chronology to be followed in the class. After doing this checks and balances, we will do preamble. after preamble, we will do the first part of the constitution, that is union and its territory. Union and its territory. Okay. One part that always I make it a point that I do at the last because of multiple reasons. For example, if I am talking about Citizenship Amendment Act that amended Section 2. So I will be talking about the principles of equality. Until you understand the principles of equality, you will not be able to understand Citizenship Act. So one part that I always do at the end, that is citizenship. Okay, because of its application, once I will be talking about National Population Register and what you call National Register for Indian Citizens, Section 14, capital letters A, whatever I'll be talking about, you will be in a better position to understand once you have done fundamental rights. So that is the only chronology that we will be breaking. We will do part 1 and then we will start with fundamental rights. Okay, so this is something. Now, this is the chronology we are following: constitution, constitutionalism, constitutional morality, okay, separation of powers. Two closer terms that have come also is state and nation. Okay, state and nation. So these are the terms. See, there are few things which are not directly mentioned in the syllabus, but they are expecting you to know. Like, I told you one important thing that will be asked every year. Gandhiji. Okay. I can write down with my blood that next 5 years again they will be asking. It is not directly mentioned. In modern history, you have Gandhiji went to South Africa in 1896, called by Dada Abdullah, Gujrati merchant, came to India on 9th January to 1915. We celebrate that at Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, the non-cooperation movement, Chauri Chaura, civil disobedience. These are the things. But other than this, UPSC in 2020 asked, what is common between Marx and Gandhi? In 2022 mains, which was actually CSE 2021, they asked a question on Gandhiji. So Gandhiji is something who is going to, what you call, help you out in paper 1, paper 2 and paper 4, even if Gandhiji is not mentioned in the syllabus. So personal note pe I make you a request, please prepare a 4-page notes on Gandhiji. And what 4-page notes? What are the scientific tools of Gandhiji? And believe me, you will, whatever exam you give, all of you would be taking UPSC. Some of you, needless to say, would also take state PSC exam. Okay. Undoubtedly, it is going to help you like anything. Every Gandhian tool is a science. Gandhiji pe you cannot say anything. When you are talking about Gandhiji, there are tools of Gandhiji. For example, non-violence, satyagraha, clinging on to truth, celibacy, or for that matter, non-cooperation, civil disobedience. These are scientific tools of Gandhiji. We cannot use these terms in a liberal manner. What is the common perception which I am getting? You are writing general answers. So first, they want you to know the facts very clearly. Basic thing, but basic should be very clear. When I start to prepare anything, first I'll go through the constitutional provision for 10 times. Then I will go through the statutory provision for 7 times. Then I will go to the website of Government of India, any information report ministry is mentioned there. Then I will talk about intellectual domain, Granville Austin, Ivor Jennings, or that what you call Kama and Kafka and what you call you discuss in Rajendra Nagar. Okay, so that intellectual domain is the last thing you will do. First, you should be very clear with the provisions of the Constitution. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन, कोई भी क्वेश्चन उठा लीजिए, व्हाट इज आर्टिकल 40? क्या है बताइए, आप लोगों को आता है बताइए, थोड़ा कोई एक आदमी जोर से बोलिए. सो पंचायती राज. सो एवरीवन नोज दैट इट इज पंचायती राज. The constitution says that the state shall endeavor to establish panchayati raj in India, comma के बाद most important thing is there, and to enable them to function as units of self-government. So for me, the most important term is not in the first part, it is in the second part. For example, what is Article 50? Separation of powers. Judiciary shall be separated from executive, everyone in the country knows, and then comma के बाद लिखा है from the public services of the state. So from the public services of the state, you must know how to apply that. And that is why millions and zillions are faltering, because conceptual clarity is not there. So we will concentrate on every minute fact. Whatever we will do, we will see it from the Constitution directly, so that you have an idea. Okay. So we did with syllabus previous year's question paper, Constitution. Okay. So very briefly, what do you understand by Constitution? एक एक करके आप बताइए. ओके, फंडामेंटल लॉ ऑफ द लैंड. सेकंड, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो है वो किसी भी मुल्क का फंडामेंटल लॉ है. फंडामेंटल लॉ का मतलब है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज द फंडामेंटल लॉ ऑफ द लैंड. व्हेन आई यूज द टर्म फंडामेंटल, all other laws are subservient to the constitution. For example, if you go to a library, there are lakhs of books that are kept in the shelf, but there is one red book that is kept on the table in the middle of the library. So that is constitution. All the books that are kept there must be in harmony with the constitution. So constitution is fundamental law. बाकी जितने ordinary laws हैं वो constitution के हिसाब से चलने चाहिए. यानी they must be in harmony with the constitution. So give me what are ordinary laws. जैसे लाख हजारों ऑर्डिनरी लॉज है. इंडियन पीनल कोड, महात्मा गांधी नेशनल रूरल एम्प्लॉयमेंट गारंटी एक्ट, क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर कोड, कोड ऑफ सिविल प्रोसीजर, यू हैव लैंड एक्विजिशन एक्ट, सिक्योरिटीज एक्सचेंज बोर्ड ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट, आरबीआई एक्ट, इंडस्ट्रियल डिस्प्यूट एक्ट. सो जितने भी ऑर्डिनरी लॉज हैं, जितने भी मामूली लॉज हैं जो ऑर्डिनरी मेजॉरिटी से बनते हैं, all those laws which are made every parliamentary session, 10 to 12 laws are made, and there are more than 1000 such laws. All these laws are ordinary laws and they are made by simple majority. But constitution is one book which is the fundamental law of the land. अगर इनमें से कोई भी law constitution से हटकर है, any such law is against the spirit of constitution, it will be declared as null and void. So can we make this a statement with certainty that constitution is the fundamental law of the land and all ordinary laws are servile? कितने ordinary laws है इंडिया में? हजारों हैं. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आने से पहले भी थे. बिफोर द अराइवल ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन देयर वर थाउजेंड्स ऑफ सच लॉज. जैसे इंडियन पीनल कोड 1860, जैसे कोड ऑफ सिविल प्रोसीजर 1908, जैसे इंडस्ट्रियल डिस्प्यूट एक्ट 1947, जैसे लैंड एक्विजिशन एक्ट 1894, ट्रेड यूनियन एक्ट. So all these laws were there before the constitution. After the constitution, do we have laws? Yes. Right to Information Act, Companies Act 1956, later on amended, Maternity Benefit Act 1961, again amended. So ordinary laws are made in every parliamentary session and there are thousands of such laws. But constitution is fundamental law of the land. And if any of these laws are not in harmony with the constitution, they will be declared as null and void. So which book is the supreme, paramount and sacrosanct? Constitution. And constitution is like this. It is actually a book which is in codified form. And all these laws are scattered, they are part of statute book. So all these laws must be in harmony with the constitution. Okay, so can we make this a statement that constitution is the fundamental law of the land? Okay. Second thing, most of the constitutions of the world, almost all the major European democracies and South America, I have read the constitution. Most of the constitutions are very brief document. 12 page, 18 page, 30 page, yani 17 articles, 58 articles, 62 articles. So most of the constitutions of the world are very comprehensive, very concise documents. But Indian constitution is a very voluminous document. ठीक है? क्यों? In most of the constitution, administrative setup is not given. In most of the constitution, how the dispute shall be solved is not given. In most of the constitution, special states are not given any status. So many of the things which are missed in the constitutions of other countries have also been added in our constitution. So how many articles are there in our constitution? Till 395, but बीच में जहां capital letter A आया, समझ जाइए it is an amendment. जैसे article 21A, right to education, Article 350A through 7th Constitutional Amendment Act, Article 323A, whenever you say A with capital letter, it means that it has been added later. So all these constitution of other countries is very small document. Many of the things which are provided in our constitution are not even given in constitutions of the other countries. So why do you think our constitution has been so voluminous, comprehensive and exhaustive? Everything which can be a dispute has been incorporated in our constitution. Why? नॉर्मली जो नहीं डाला जाता है, यूएस के, जर्मनी, फ्रांस, स्विट्जरलैंड, दे डोंट ऐड. व्हाई? Because you close your eyes and see, can there be a more diverse country than India on earth? You see, India, Canada, Australia, and United States are called land of multiculturalism. But Canada, Australia, and United States is due to immigration. India is due to its unique ethnic diversity. You have ethnic diversity, you have geographic. So the aspirations of various sections have been added in the कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. एग्जाम्पल देता हूं, जैसे आर्टिकल 371A नागालैंड से रिलेटेड प्रोविजन है. 5th शेड्यूल ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, शेड्यूल्ड एरियाज. 6th शेड्यूल ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, असम, मेघालय, त्रिपुरा, मिजोरम. सो मेनी थिंग्स विच आर एक्चुअली नॉट एडेड इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ अदर कंट्रीज हैव ऑल्सो बीन एडेड इन आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन टू अवॉइड एनी dispute in the future. So can we make this a statement that irrespective of everything, constitution of every country shows at least one thing, reflects the ideology and philosophy of the nation. What kind of India was envisaged by the founding mothers and fathers of Constituent Assembly is embodied in the constitution. So one thing which is unique to every constitution of the world, that is constitution is the किस तरह के भारत की संरचना और कल्पना की थी हमारी फाउंडिंग मदर्स और फादर्स ने, वो कहां दिया हुआ है? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में. ओके, थर्ड थिंग, इट एस्टैब्लिशेस द ऑर्गन्स ऑफ द स्टेट. एस्टैब्लिशेस, डू नॉट डिफाइन देयर पावर्स. अदर कंट्रीज डू नॉट डिफाइन देयर पावर्स इन एग्जॉस्टिव वे. इतना ब्रॉडली नहीं दिया है, पर अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में थिंग्स हैव बीन डिटेल्ड आउट वेरी ब्रॉडली. सो कैन वी मेक दिस स्टेटमेंट दैट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज द फंडामेंटल लॉ ऑफ द लैंड? क्यों? क्योंकि बाकी लॉज जो हैं वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के सामने सबसर्विएंट है. आप मुझे 5 ऐसे लॉज बताइए. यू इन द स्पेक्ट, व्हाट्स योर नेम? या यू ओनली, नो जस्ट बिफोर यू. या यू ग्रीन, हाँ, या व्हाट्स योर नेम? जी, शुभम. ओके, शुभम कुमार. सो शुभम कुमार, प्लीज टेल मी दैट 5 ऑर्डिनरी लॉज. मुझे 5 आप ऑर्डिनरी लॉज बताइए जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से हटकर है. बताइए कोई भी ऐसे लॉज. ऑर्डिनरी लॉज और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में क्या अंतर है, बताइए. ओके, ऑर्डिनरी लॉज, ऑर्डिनरी में जो, एंड इज देयर अ बुक वेयर ऑर्डिनरी लॉज आर कंपाइल्ड? इज देयर अ बुक वेयर ऑर्डिनरी लॉज आर कंपाइल्ड? नो, दे आर एक्चुअली scattered everywhere, but constitution is one book. Can you all tell me 5 examples of ordinary laws? बताइए. एक, इंडियन पीनल कोड 1860, क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर कोड, सिविल प्रोसीजर कोड, मनरेगा, आरटीआई. सो ये सारे क्या है? ये ऑर्डिनरी लॉज हैं. क्या वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है? Are they constitution? No, they are not constitution, but they must be in harmony with constitution. Otherwise, they will be declared as unconstitutional. Can I make this a statement that constitution reflects the ideology and philosophy of India? हमें कैसे पता चला हम secular हैं? How did we come to know that we are secular? Because somebody told. How somebody informed कि हम secular हैं तो हो गए. Because it is given in the Constitution. How did we come to know that we have become a democracy? Because Nehru ji gave a speech at midnight? No, because it is given in the Constitution. How did we come to know that we are a republic? Because Article 52 of the Constitution says there shall be a president of India. How did we come to know that we are a sovereign? Because it is reflected in the preamble of the Constitution. So, इस मुल्क की जिस विचारधारा के साथ मुल्क आगे बढ़ेगा, the ideology which will drive the nation is given in. Don't you think it is very important for a country to define its ideology? मुल्क किस विचारधारा से आगे बनेगा? How did कोई बात नहीं, प्लीज. आप, there is some disturbance right at his head. ओके, ये माइक की वजह से. ठीक है, चलिए. So you got it? Okay. So see, ideology and philosophy of the nation. So, okay, armed force, we have got online warriors answering. You have food. IPC, CRPC, Prabhat, Armed Forces Special Power Act. Okay, so we have to follow the principle of equality as well as equity. Okay, so constitution, now constitutional morality. ठीक है, अब है if there are different units in a political system, क्या dispute होगी या नहीं होगी? Tell me one constitution unit in the world where there will be no dispute. अगर स्टेट और सेंटर दोनों रहेंगे तो दोनों में लड़ाई होगी या नहीं होगी? होगी. Without a shadow of doubt, every country in the world, there will be disputes among the political units. So Dr. Ambedkar on 25th November 1949 said कि if there will be dispute, it will be solved by constitutional methods. उन्होंने कहा civil disobedience, non-cooperation are tools of bloody methods of revolution. यानी इंडिपेंडेंट इंडिया में सिविल डिसोबीडियंस के लिए कोई जगह नहीं है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल सेंसस एक्ट 1948 says that census person will be coming, I have to give my detail. So when the person comes, I say I will not cooperate with you. So non-cooperation with the government, and I will say I will not follow census act. So I am civil disobedience against a law. So do civil disobedience have a place in India? No. 6th April 1930, Gandhi ji broke the salt law. Why? Because the law was inhuman, not by a democratically elected parliament and not by a humanistic manner. इसीलिए उस वक्त civil disobedience valid था. But Dr. Ambedkar on 25th November 1949 clearly said that civil disobedience, non-cooperation are bloody methods of revolution. They will lead to grammar of anarchy. So this is constitutionalism का मतलब solving disputes through. So if you have a dispute, what will you do? You can go to court. Freedom of speech and expression, you can write. Right to assemble peacefully without arms. 20 बच्चों को लेकर धरना प्रदर्शन. Right to form an association, union or cooperative. You will so actually you will resort to constitutional means or unconstitutional means? Constitutional means. So we have constitutional morality matlab solving the dispute through constitutional means and paramount reverence for the ideology of the constitution. जो चीजें नहीं भी लिखी गई हैं directly, whatever is not written, you will respect that also. If there is an inference coming, अगर उसके अंदर से बात निकल कर आ रही है तो उसकी इज्जत करनी है. So constitutional morality. Okay. Now constitutionalism. Why do you think constitutionalism is necessary? I have been reiterating this for past 6 years कि there is one word in the world that can replace constitutionalism, that is limited government. 2021 में question पूछ दिया और 4 options they have given with 4 what you call जुड़वा sisters in same frock. Okay, and then they gave same and one option में they use the term limited government. जिसको देखना था टिक किया, आगे बढ़ा. Because one word, why do we need limited government? आप मुझे बताइए what was the purpose of freedom movement? Freedom movement का ये purpose था कि power should be with the people. If the government is having unlimited power, then what about the people? So for democracy to sustain, government should have limited powers. And who will limit the government? Constitution. Government has only those powers that is given by the constitution. So you have constitutionalism, now separation of powers. ठीक है? This point. So these are actually concept. Is hijab judgment by Karnataka High Court can be said to be given out of constitutional morality. We'll come to all these article 25 पे 3 घंटा बात चलेगी. ठीक है? सुनिए. Separation of powers. You tell me कि is it not necessary? There is an Indian state, not the state government, Indian state. I will make a law that if you pickpocket somebody's wallet, you will be hanged. Okay, I'll make a law. I will decide whether you actually pickpocketed or not. And after deciding, I will hang you. So I will perform the role of legislature. मैं ये बताऊंगा कि अगर आप pickpocket करते हैं तो आपको क्या सजा मिलेगी. So I will decide the law, what is the punishment for pickpocketing. फिर मैं जज बन जाऊंगा, आई विल बिकम द जज एंड आई विल डिसाइड कि एक्चुअली आपने पिक पॉकेट किया था या नहीं किया. सो आई एम एडजुडिकेटिंग एंड आफ्टर गिविंग यू अ पनिशमेंट आई माई सेल्फ विल एग्जीक्यूट एंड हैंग यू. सो आपको नहीं लगता है दिस इज अगेंस्ट डेमोक्रेसी? वन ऑर्गन हैविंग द पावर ऑफ लेजिस्लेचर, जुडिशियरी एंड एग्जीक्यूटिव. अगर ऐसा होता है तो कौन नुकसान में जाएगा? If all the three organs power is concentrated into one authority, who will go into nuksan? Huh? Who? People. Actually the people. Because people's rights would not be secured. Government will pick them and hang them without judiciary. Or government will appoint an officer who will say ki sahi, he has, and he will hang. So actually democracy will be in severe danger. So एक व्यक्ति आए, क्या नाम है उनका? One person, Montesquieu. He said कि for any state to function independently, किसी भी स्टेट को अच्छे से फंक्शन करने के लिए पावर शुड नॉट बी कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड. पावर कंसंट्रेट मत कीजिए, 3 विंग बनाइए. मेक 3. Whenever I speak in Hindi, I'll translate in English. So there should be 3 wings. 1 wing would be making laws. वो लॉ बनाएगा. उसका सिर्फ ये काम है, द ओनली जॉब इट हैज टू डिसाइड कि इफ ही हैज पिक पॉकेटेड, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय पिक पॉकेटिंग, डेफिनेशन ऑफ पिक पॉकेटिंग, एंड व्हाट विल बी द पनिशमेंट फॉर पिक पॉकेटिंग. सो डेफिनेशन ऑफ द ऑफेंस एज वेल एज पनिशमेंट फॉर द ऑफेंस. दूसरा विंग ये डिसाइड करेगा वेदर ही एक्चुअली पिक पॉकेटेड और नॉट. सो वन विंग विल प्रिस्क्राइब पनिशमेंट एंड सेकेंड विंग विल decide that whether he has committed that offense or not. लेकिन एक important बात है, if the offense for pickpocketing prescribes maximum 7 days of imprisonment, judiciary finding a person guilty cannot send him to 8 days of imprisonment. So I will decide whether you have pickpocketed or not, but the maximum punishment I can give is what the legislature has actually decided. So legislature will decide the quantum of punishment and the definition of offense. उसने कहा कि इसने पिक पॉकेट किया. He said that he has pickpocketed. उसके कहने से होगा. What do you mean by pickpocketing? Offense should be defined ना. IPC 299 defines murder. तो define करना पड़ेगा ना कि murder क्या है. उसने कहा कि इसने murder किया है. ऐसे होता है. So what is the job of legislature? Legislature क्या काम करेगी? Legislature will make law, it will define the offense. उस मर्डर का मतलब क्या होता है ये लेजिस्लेचर बताएगा. It will define the offense and it will also prescribe punishment for the offense. What is the role of judiciary? Only to decide whether the person has committed the crime or not. And what is the role of executive? After the judiciary has decided that he is guilty, executive will take him, okay, and he will be there in the jail. Or if he is meant to be hanged, executive will actually hang that person. इससे क्या होगा? The 3 organs of the state, there will be separation of powers. And if there is separation of power, no organ will become extremely powerful. Okay? So I said few provisions in the constitution that promote separation of power. Do you think separation of power is necessary? Otherwise, democracy will be in danger. Do you think there is black and white separation of powers? Any country in the world, is it possible कि पूरा का पूरा watertight separation हो? No. कुछ ना कुछ encroachment, some or the other encroachment will be there. Example, for example, the parliament impeaching the president, Article 61. So actually, who is finding the president guilty of violating the constitution? Parliament. So parliament is doing a judicial role. So it is impossible to have a complete watertight separation. थोड़ा सा इस पर और बात करते हैं, ठीक है? Then sir, what about the trial? Trials is given where? Code of criminal procedure. What will be the trial? Entire proceedings in the court is given in CRPC. So who has made the CRPC? Legislature, okay? Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Now you see, this is Indian state. ठीक है? State के कौन से 3 wings हैं? Which are the 3 wings of Indian state? Legislature, judiciary and executive. What is the role of legislature? It will make law. What is the role of judiciary? It will decide if there is a dispute. So adjudication. ठीक है. और what is the role of executive? Executive का role है laws को implement laws. Okay. And Montesquieu जी ने कहा, जो जिस व्यक्ति ने थ्योरी दी, the person who has given this theory, he said nobody should be a member of more than one organ. ऐसा कीजिए कि एक व्यक्ति, if one person is a member of this, he cannot be a member of this. If one person is a member of this, he cannot be a member of this. This was said by Montesquieu. Okay, that if you are a member of legislature, you will not become a member of executive, and if you are a member of executive, you will not become a member of legislature and judiciary. Now, is it followed in India? Why? आराम से समझते हैं, कोई बात नहीं. Prime Minister Modi is a member of parliament from Varanasi. Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Damodar Das Modi ji is a member of parliament from Varanasi. है कोई डाउट है? Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar is a member of parliament of Rajya Sabha. Ma'am Nirmala Sitharaman, she is a member of parliament of Rajya Sabha. Amit Chand Shah ji is a member of parliament of Lok Sabha. Getting my point? Piyush Goyal ji is a member of parliament of Rajya Sabha. So all these people are actually part of parliament. So you have Prime Minister Modi ji, or for that matter Nirmala Sitharaman ma'am or Piyush Goyal ji. All these people are member of legislature, but they are also they are part of Council of Ministers. All BJP MPs are part of Council of Ministers? Nahi. Gautam Gambhir ji, he is a minister, he is an MP, but he is not a part of Council of Ministers. In India, we did not follow Montesquieu ने जैसा कहा, हमने पूरा follow. So we did not follow. Montesquieu said that if you are a member of one organ, you cannot become a member of other organ. But we said, Montesquieu ji, we will not follow you in complete sense. Okay. So if you are a member of legislature, in India, can you be a member of executive? Yes. So all these people, Prime Minister, all the ministers are also member of legislature. So can we make this a statement that Montesquieu's separation of power in India is not followed in complete sense? क्या हम ये कह सकते हैं कि Montesquieu के आइडियोलॉजी, डॉक्ट्रिन को हमने और उसकी थिंकिंग को हमने फुल फॉलो नहीं किया? हम ऐसा कह सकते हैं. दूसरी बात, one very important line. For example, अभी कितना बज रहा है? 5:30. Okay. The government decides, any of you who is turned 25, कि चलो इसको मिनिस्टर बनाते हैं. Prime Minister decides, he will communicate to the President, by 7:30 one of you will become minister. Okay. You can become minister. If you are 25, you are a citizen of India, you can be made minister, but you have to get elected within 6 months. So either Council of Ministers are either MPs or they have to become MP within 6 months. Example, Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal. She lost the election in Nandigram by 1900 something votes, but still she was given oath of Chief Minister. Now within 6 months she have to become MLA from any of the constituency. Seat एक जगह खाली थी, by election हुआ, by election was conducted and she got elected by Bhawanipur constituency in Kolkata. So actually, either you have to be a member of parliament or you have to become a member of parliament within 6 months if you want to become minister. So in India, the entire Council of Ministers is derived from legislature. So is there a watertight separation? अब US पे आते हैं. US में president Joe Biden or Donald Jr. Trump or Barack Obama, all these people are not part of legislature. When Hillary Rodham Clinton was appointed as a minister, she has to resign her seat in US Senate. So US में, if you are a member of US में आपको मालूम है, जैसे इंडिया में we have parliament, you have Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha. Article 79 says Parliament of India comprises of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and President. President is not a member of Parliament but part of Parliament. We'll see these things. Okay. So India में we have Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. US में Parliament को कहते हैं Congress. And you have House of Representatives, that is the Lok Sabha of US, and Senate, that is the Rajya Sabha of US. So when Hillary Rodham Clinton was appointed as minister, she has to resign her seat in US Senate. You're getting my point? So in USA, if you are a member of legislature, you cannot become member of executive. Okay? If you are a member of executive, you have to give up your seat in legislature. So in India, we follow a watertight, diluted version of separation of powers theory. Okay? अब एक और बात. पर the Constitution of India in Article 50 says, ठीक है, legislature and executive are not separated, but separate judiciary from executive. एक बात कह रहा है कि ठीक है, legislature और executive is not separated, no problem, but please separate judiciary from executive. So judiciary has been separated from executive, but legislature and executive are not separated. एक बात. दूसरी बात, it is not about membership. ये तो चलो एक one person cannot become a member of more than one organ, except that ministers are also part of legislature. Modi ji is a member of parliament, part of legislature, and he is also a member of council of ministers. ठीक है. और भी तो चीजें हैं, powers. All the three organs should be allowed to function independently. ठीक है. अब बताते हैं. जैसे anything said on the floor of the house or any vote given is not to be called in question in any court of law. Parliament के पटल पे, on the floor of the parliament, you say anything. Anything means anything. Outside court will not take an action. The privilege committee of parliament will take an action. So no judiciary can interfere in the proceedings of parliament. Parliament has been given complete freedom. So is it not separation of powers? Yes. और constitution में लिखा है, the conduct of a Supreme Court, High Court judge cannot be discussed in Parliament except when his removal proceedings are going on. So judiciary has also been given complete separation of powers. Ki conduct of Supreme Court, High Court judge cannot be discussed. So you are getting this point, na? So you just say ki do we follow separation of powers? Yes. So yes, do we follow, but in a diluted version. Okay. ऐसा नहीं है कि black and white है. Many times one organ performs the function of other organs. We'll see all these things when we do Election Commission of India, otherwise it will go. ठीक है? Okay. So one doctrine is doctrine of checks and balances. Now the topic that we will be starting from for today, because we have just repeating what we have done. I want somebody from back to answer कि if everybody is function independently, don't you think it will lead to anarchy? Judiciary, if whatever it does, doing any wrong also, executive cannot say anything. Executive doing any wrong also, judiciary cannot say anything. Legislature doing anything, so judiciary cannot say anything. If all the organs of the state are allowed to function independently, do you think that there will be a catastrophe? So last, somebody from the back, please tell me that do you think that separation of powers without doctrine of checks and balances is complete? बताइए. Separation of powers without checks and balances is complete. Collectively also you can say. समझ रहे हैं इस बात को आराम से कि अगर सबको पूरी आजादी से काम करने दे दिया गया तो हो सकता है सब अपने में, to use a colloquial term, अपने में मस्त रहेंगे. So there will be no check. So we need a doctrine. Separation of power has a daughter, younger daughter, that is doctrine of checks and balances. Okay. Okay. Now we'll start the topic. So to counter the separation of powers, you have a doctrine that is doctrine of checks and balances. If they are allowed to function independently without any interference, they all will be functioning in a authoritative, totalitarian, despotic and concentrative manner. यानी सब अपने में Must. So don't you think that if a judge is doing something wrong, there must be a check on him? If legislature is passing an unconstitutional law, there must be a check on it. If council of ministers are doing something wrong, there must be a check of it. So a small doctrine, एक ऐसी सोच, to complete separation of powers, you also need checks and balances. एक example देता हूं. You have the liberty to do anything. Does that mean that you have the liberty to slap anybody on the road? That you got a bad haircut? I didn't like, तो थप्पड़ लगा दिया. So you cannot be Munna Bhaiya's assistant. Okay. So he is like slapping anybody. So you have to be diligent while you exercise your liberty. It must be in a restricted fashion. And what is the definition of liberty? Liberty is responsible use of freedom under rule of law. Liberty is responsible use of freedom under rule of law. Do you think separation of power in complete sense will lead to anarchy? So you need checks and balances. If he is doing wrong, somebody will correct him. If he is doing wrong, somebody will correct him. So you have an ancillary doctrine to doctrine of separation of power, that is doctrine of checks and balances. अब कैसे checks and balances आएगा? How will we achieve checks and balances? I'll dictate everything, no need to write. Okay. How will we achieve checks and balances? Can you give me an example? बताइए. Judicial review or rule of law or responsibility of council of ministers or right to information and all. I am talking with respect to separation of powers. Okay, removal of judges, excellent. अब सुनिए. If the parliament passes an unconstitutional law, parliament ने कोई ऐसा law pass कर दिया जो constitutional नहीं है, then what will happen? Judiciary will declare that law as unconstitutional. So the power of judicial review is actually a check on the power of legislature and executive. Another example. Center decided that vaccine shall be given to 45 plus only. Center decided that vaccine shall be given only to 45 plus. पहले ये था ना? Then second wave, and then for all, to third wave we thankfully got less number of lives were lost. You only tell me that if vaccine, so the Supreme Court interfered and ordered the vaccine to be given to everyone. So any executive action of the center can also be judicially reviewed. Getting my point? So if the parliament passes a law that is unconstitutional, who will declare that law as unconstitutional? Supreme Court. Next point. I am the Minister of Human Resource Development. Okay? You are a member of parliament. Member of parliament तो समझते हैं, ठीक है? You are a member of parliament, you are visiting your constituency. Suddenly you see that this Kendriya Vidyalaya building is very damaged. If this Kendriya Vidyalaya building is not corrected in right time, it will fall, leading to the injury or death of students. So I am a member of parliament, I am from Itanagar or any constituency in the country, Ladakh or Chandni Chowk. So I will go and see कि problem तो है. So I will come to Delhi during the parliament session. Then I will draft a question. Whom will I address the question? Minister for Human Resource Development, now Minister for Education. The ministry's name has been changed because they say that human beings should not be seen as resources. So they have renamed the ministry from Human Resource Development to Ministry of Education. So I am a member of parliament. I was roaming in my constituency. I saw that there is no separate toilet for men and women in a Kendriya Vidyalaya, or there is no girls' common room in a college. Any problem. So I will come to Delhi. I will draft a question that what is the Kendriya Vidyalaya building in depleted state? If yes, what is government contemplating? Or I will forward this question to the office of speaker, which will be forwarded to Ministry of Education. 30 days का time होगा. Ministry of Education will actually ask Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan near Bersarai. Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan will forward the letter to school in Kendriya Vidyalaya, regional office, then principal of Kendriya Vidyalaya, Itanagar. He will reply ki yes, the building is damaged. We will get it corrected by 1 month. And then the Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan, Ministry of Education, on the designated day, Minister of Education, I will stand up, I will ask the question in 1 minute. And the minister will stand up and he will say, yes, this building is designated. I will ensure that it gets corrected within 1 month or 45 days. So actually, do you think legislature is holding executive accountable? Legislature is holding executive accountable. जो legislature एक ordinary member of parliament, ordinary matlab not that ordinary, matlab he is not a minister. A member of parliament is asking question to a minister. So actually council of ministers are held accountable by the legislature. Second example, people died due to lack of oxygen. Okay, so a question was asked in parliament to the Minister of Health, did people die due to lack of oxygen? And second question, if yes, how many? Okay, so the ministry replied that public health is a state subject and states would be in a better position to provide this data. Okay, because public health is a state subject. Now there is a demand to shift it from state subject to concurrent list. Okay, so who is holding whom accountable? Legislature के जो MPs है, member of parliament are holding whom accountable? Executive. So do you think this is checking the power of executive or expanding? Next example. Suddenly there is demonetization. Okay. And some people feel that the management is not good. So who announced demonetization? Executive or legislature? Executive. Next time when there will be a parliament session, they will give an adjournment notice कि we want to discuss no confidence motion. So executive is being restricted or or expanding? Restricted. So in doctrine of checks and balances, one organ actually restricts the other organ. Next example. Suddenly it is known that one of the judges was caught red-handed taking bribe. So what parliament will do? It will initiate removal proceedings against the judges under Judges Inquiries Act 1968 and the provisions of the Constitution. So actually, if the judiciary is doing wrong, who is correcting? Legislature. If the legislature is passing a bad act, who is correcting? Judiciary. If the executive is going wrong, who is correcting? Legislature. If the executive is passing a law that is passing an order that is unconstitutional, who is correcting? Judiciary. So actually, all the three organs are checking each other. So do you think separation of power is complete without doctrine of checks and balances? No. Otherwise, all the three organs would be behaving in a autocratic manner. Another example. In United States, there was a motion moved against the impeachment of US President. So US President is part of the executive. He did something wrong. So there was a motion in US Congress. Senate mein they didn't had the majorities. Anyways, so at least the US Congress can remove the president. So legislature is putting a check on executive. Next example. A person was burning the flag of USA and under a law he was arrested. Okay, there is a landmark case, Texas versus Johnson. Johnson was a chilled guy. He actually, there was a Republican party convention going on, he burned the flag. So I usually read so many US judgment, one interesting one. So he burned the flag of USA. He burned the flag of USA, so he was arrested under a law. किसी लॉ को तो ब्रेक किया होगा ना उसने. Just because he burned the flag, he cannot be arrested until he has broken a law. Now that law was challenged in US Supreme Court under Texas versus Johnson case. So Supreme Court of USA said that burning the flag of USA is one of his freedom of speech and expression. It is a matter of pity and pain for us why our citizen is burning the flag of USA, but it is part of his freedom of speech expression. So you understand, if the executive or the legislature is doing something wrong, who is correcting? Judiciary. So legislature within its domain has the power to make laws. वो लॉ बनाएगा, कोई उसको तंग नहीं करेगा, लेकिन it cannot make a law that is against the constitution. So what is doctrine of checks and balances? Actually restricting the organs of the state. And why do we need doctrine of checks and balances? Why do we need? बताइए. Why organs should not have arbitrary power? Thousands of people were hanged on the tree. From 10th May 1857, lakhs of people lost their lives for freedom, so that power should be with the people. Power should not be with the state. So final power should rest with the people. है ना? Democracy का मतलब क्या? Government is just to facilitate. And there is one famous line I will say, then I will start dictation. There is a one man Palki wala. Have you heard about him? He is one such lawyer who is among the biggest lawyers India has ever produced. He was representing the other side in Keshwananda Bharti case. So he once said that charters of liberty give rise to power and not vice versa. कहने का मतलब है, हमने अपनी आजादी में से सरकार को कुछ शक्तियां दी है, सरकार की शक्तियों में से हमें आजादी नहीं मिली है. From our liberty, the liberty that we have given certain power to the government. It is not the government which has given liberty to us. How? I can prove. How did we get fundamental rights? From the Constitution. And from where Constitution is getting power? We the people. Okay. How did we come to know that there will be a union government? Because it is given in the Constitution. Constitution establishes union government, and Constitution is deriving power from the people. So actually, the people of India have given power to the government out of their liberty. And it is not the government which is giving power. You are getting this point now. So, do you think that in a democracy, Abraham Lincoln said that democracy is of the people, by the people, and for the people? And for democracy to sustain, every organ should be limited or unlimited? Limited. And what promotes limited government? That is separation of powers, doctrine of checks and balances. Without checks and balances, is democracy complete? No. आप you only. What's your name? आपके बगल में क्या नाम है आपका? जी? अच्छा, Divyakant Pathak ji. Please tell me that. Give me an example of checks and balances. Okay. हाँ. Declare that law as null and void. Give me an example where judiciary is checked by the. अच्छा, लड़ाई भी चलती है, थोड़ा लड़ाई भी डिस्कस कर ले. ओके, चलती है, अभी 100 शाम हो जाएगी डिस्कस करते करते. सुनिए, Supreme Court on 14th July 2021 declared certain provisions of tribunal ordinance as unconstitutional. एक लॉ के कुछ प्रोविजंस को सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि नहीं अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है. सेम प्रोविजंस ऑन 14th August after a month in monsoon session were passed by parliament. Okay, second point, SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989. Supreme Court said that these provisions would be applied in this manner. To overcome the judgment of Supreme Court, Parliament amended SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989. So a judgment given by Supreme Court is overturned by legislature. Again, that overturning is again challenged, and judiciary again declares that constitutional or unconstitutional. In some cases constitutional, in some cases unconstitutional. Another example, Supreme Court on 16th November 1992, Indira Sahni versus Union of India case said reservation cannot cross 50%. अभी कितना है? By 103rd constitutional amendment, Supreme Court's judgment was overturned. Last example, 16 नवंबर 1992 को सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा देयर विल बी नो रिजर्वेशन फॉर एससी एसटी इन प्रमोशन। एससी एसटी कम्युनिटी को प्रमोशन में रिजर्वेशन नहीं मिलेगा, सीधा सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा। सुप्रीम कोर्ट सेड 77th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट अमेंडेड आर्टिकल 16 एडेड कि नहीं रिजर्वेशन मिलेगा। सो एनी जजमेंट दैट इज गिवन बाय सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज एक्चुअली ओवरटर्न्ड बाय legislature. Again the same can be overturned by judiciary. Whatever is the last will be chronology mein, whatever is the last will be valid. So this ladai keeps on happening, and this is the beauty of democracy, where all organs are actually working for the collective welfare of the country. But kya dispute nahi hoga? Yes. So who has an edge? All three organs are on equal pedestal, but dil ke andar scholars know कि judiciary has an, you cannot write, but it is a practical thing that judiciary is the final interpreter of the constitution. So let's sum up. Doctrine of checks and balances is a doctrine to promote democracy, constitutionalism and avoid, एक term use होता है, you have heard this term, usurp. Usurp. What is the meaning of term usurp? Usurp का मतलब होता है हथिया लेना, to take something. So do you think the doctrine of checks and balances is to avoid any organ of the state from usurping unlimited power? And what is power? What is power? चलिए, पावर से क्या समझते हैं बताइए, एक एक चलिए बोलिए। यू आर सेइंग समथिंग, अकाउंटेबिलिटी, ओके, एनी अदर थिंग बोलिए ना भाई, मैंने किसी को नहीं खाया अभी तक। ओके, हाँ, और राइट्स विच आर गिवन टू रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स, ओके, legitimate authority, okay. See, there are wider definitions in political science. One scholar has beautifully defined, Joseph Nye, Nye. He says power is the ability to control someone else's decision. Power is the authority to control someone else's decision. जैसे you are going on a Goa trip, your mother starts crying, emotional power. So actually it can be emotional, economic, it can be in wider sense. But power, Joseph Nye acceptable definition is the ability to control someone else's decision. We will see each and every provision of the constitution. You just need to wait for 5-7 days, then you will understand where you are standing. But yes, one thing I cannot promise, which I hate, being conventional. Because 90% people are not qualifying, क्योंकि एक क्वेश्चन लक्ष्मीकांत से आगे और एक क्वेश्चन पीछे. So, okay, you please, if you want to be conventional and mediocre, I am sorry. ठीक है, you must conquer the constitution by the grace of God. Whatever question they frame, you will be in the best position to answer that. I can promise. You will be in the best position. आपको मजाक लगेगा कि पूछ क्या रहा है. That level we will go. But mediocrity, you follow, you enjoy, you like, some of you, not always. So that is your problem. It is not my likelihood and my hobby. Okay, so I'll prepare, and this we are doing from exam point. Every single change that UPSC has brought, it is very easy to make you happy. लिखो, what do you mean by constitution? एक पेज लिखवा दिया, मजा, कुछ नहीं समझ में आया, एक क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी ने आगे चेंज किया, पीछे चेंज किया. So UPSC is very smart. They are asking which is the best definition of state. अब करो, पढ़ के जाओ. Best definition तो दुनिया की किसी बुक में नहीं लिखा है. So you have to actually apply that knowledge, information. So then you will get the best definition of state. So please write doctrine of checks and balances. Please write doctrine of checks and balances. अब कुछ को है कि हिंदी बोलिए. भाई मुझे भी पसंद है, पर अंग्रेजी माध्यम का एडमिशन लिया है ना. If you have a problem, so I can, after the class we can deal with that. But if I speak Hindi, our brothers and sisters from wide, diverse linguistic background, will that not be injustice to them? Please write doctrine of checks and balances. हाँ, किसका? लोक अदालत. Okay, yeah. Article 13 of the, there are ordinary laws. Under Article 13 of the Constitution, definition of law में वो भी है. They are there in the definition of law. They are not Constitution. Please write. See, लिखिए, doctrine of checks and balances. The theory of separation of powers. The theory of separation of powers is incomplete without the doctrine of checks and balances. Doctrine of checks and balances. Full stop. Please write. The doctrine avoids usurping of power. Usurp, हथिया लेना, to take. Usurping of power. The doctrine avoids usurping of power. The doctrine avoids usurping of power by any organ of the state. Any organ of the state. Full stop. Point wise लिखिए. Okay? Mains में you are communicating with the examiner with your answer. It should be very neat and beautiful and smart. Okay? Next you write the doctrine of C and B. The doctrine of C and B. C and B. Checks and balances. ठीक है? Promotes democratic ideals. Promotes democratic ideals. ठीक है, आपकी भाषा में डेमोक्रेटिक आइडियल्स यानी लोकतंत्र के उसूल को प्रमोट करता है. डेमोक्रेटिक आइडियल्स कॉमा अवॉइड्स टोटलिटेरियनिज्म. मैं स्पेलिंग लिख रहा हूं यहां पे देखिए. अवॉइड्स, सुन लीजिए, टोटल का मतलब होता है एवरीथिंग टू मी. टोटल पावर मतलब ऑल पावर टू मी. चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस में टोटल पावर नहीं होता है, तो अवॉइड करता है टोटलिटेरियनिज्म, मतलब किसी भी एक ऑर्गन को सारा पावर लेने से मना करता है. अवॉइड्स टोटलिटेरियनिज्म. एंड promotes a government that is of the people, for the people, and by the people. आगे लिखिए. टूल्स टू इंप्लीमेंट चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस. टूल्स टू इंप्लीमेंट चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस. टूल्स टू, मैं आपको चाहूंगा बोलिए. आई डोंट वॉन्ट यू टू बी रट्टाफाई. यू शुड लर्न इन द क्लास. You tell me what are the tools that, किस ऐसी चीज के जरिए एक दूसरे को चेक किया जाता है, रोका जाता है. थ्रू व्हाट टूल यू कैन चेक अनदर ऑर्गन. यू ओनली टेल मी. एक सेकेंड. जुडिशियल रिव्यू सुनते, यानी जुडिशियली विल रिव्यू any law passed by parliament or any order by ministers, if that is unconstitutional, it will be declared as null and void. So actually judicial review के जरिए legislature और executive की शक्तियों को कम किया जाता है. Through judicial review, there is a check and balance on the power of the legislature and executive. So can we write judicial review? Yes, please write judicial review. Okay, next. For example, judiciary said कि please do this. Okay? For example, judiciary said that Vineet Narayan case, a director of CBI shall be appointed in this manner. Fixed tenure होना चाहिए. DGP should be given fixed tenure. State said कि कहा तो कहा. So actually what the judiciary can do? कहीं तो power होगा ना? Everything goes by a law. So there is power of contempt. मतलब if somebody is not following judiciary, Supreme Court and High Courts have power of contempt. उसको जेल भेजी जा सकती है. So there is a contempt of court act. We will see this in judiciary. So by contempt, actually judiciary can secure its independence and its orders are actually enforced. Otherwise, they will send the person to jail. Getting my point? So there is power of contempt के जरिए बाकी दोनों organs को judiciary actually control. Please write power of contempt. Power of contempt. Please see the spelling out here. Contempt. ठीक है? Power of contempt. Okay? ब्रैकेट में लिख दीजिए आर्टिकल 129. कभी काम देगा स्टेट पीएससी में. दे आर्टिकल 129. State PSC can ask anything. Okay. Now, you tell me, if judiciary is doing something wrong, who will balance it? If a judge is caught taking bribe. Interesting, एक बता दें. So there was a judge in Punjab and Haryana High Court, 2008. Two judges were having same surnames. Okay. 10 lakh rupee was delivered at the doorstep of another judge. Okay. And this is you can Google and there is a chronology of events. You will see everything. This is one of the leading. And the judge at whose doorstep 10 lakh rupees was delivered said कि he immediately understood that he informed the police. Then reverse chain. Police caught who gave the money. Then which case. It was found that it was said to be delivered. I can't name that judge. Said to be delivered for Judge X. Since Judge Y was also having the same surname, उसने Judge X Y के घर पर जाकर 10 लाख रुपए का बैग रख दिया. Finally, Judge Y was there in problem. So if any such incident is happening, so who will remove the judge? Parliament. So actually, if judiciary is doing any wrong, check and balance will be done by the legislature. So removal of Supreme Court, High Court judges by legislature. Please write in English. Removal of Supreme Court, High Court judges by legislature. Okay. अब मिनिस्टर हैं मिनिस्टर इज पार्ट ऑफ विच एग्जीक्यूटिव और लेजिस्लेचर एग्जीक्यूटिव मिनिस्टर इज डूइंग मनमर्जियां ओके सो एक्चुअली हु विल चेक every morning at 11 o'clock there is a question hour there are start question unstart question and start question is distinguished by an asterisk you are given the minister it is replied orally the minister has to reply from a member of legislature any MP is asking a question minister has to reply so actually legislature is exercising check on executive minister has to respond if it is an unstart question statistically big 100 पेज का आंसर मांग लिया 100 पेज तो नहीं सुनाएगा so in those questions which are statistically very big they are normally unstarred and answer has to be given in written but not in oral form the rules of procedure and conduct of business of Lok Sabha as well as Raj Sabha says, at times there is a discretion also. You are asking a very exhaustive question, then it will be converted from start to unstart. Otherwise, whenever you ask a start question, an oral reply is given and supplementary questions can be followed. हर दिन सुबह लोक सभा की कार्रवाई, that, and in Lok Sabha first thing what happens? Question are, ministers one by one stand and they answer to MPs. So ruling party also every day you see, for example, a ruling party MP is asking a question to ruling party minister. So legislature is actually holding whom accountable? Executive. So isse checks and balance hua. Executive is always aware कि if I do something wrong, question hour में question पूछा. Next point. Please write. Question are holding executive accountable to legislature. Okay. Any other example? हाँ? Excellent. अब सुनिए. Why ऐसे नहीं समझेंगे? Why Prime Minister Modi ji is in power? Why Prime Minister Modi ji is in power? Very simple, because there are 272 MPs you require to be in Lok Sabha, then you are in power. So actually, in literal language, Prime Minister Modi ji is enjoying the support and confidence of Lok Sabha. So what is the strength of Lok Sabha? So the strength of Lok Sabha is, फिर वही बात है ना, एक चीज से 100 चीजें खुलती है. 543. What is the majority of Lok Sabha? 543 की majority क्या है? So it is 272. 543 का 271 is 542. 272 is 544. So what is the majority of Lok Sabha? Simple majority is 272. So Modi ji is in power because he has the support of 272 MPs in Lok Sabha. In constitutional term, this support is called as confidence of Lok Sabha. So, अब constitution कहता है, the council of ministers shall be collectively responsible to house of people, that is Lok Sabha. Constitution में बस इतना लिखा है. The council of ministers, यानी Prime Minister Modi and his ministers, should have collective responsible to Lok Sabha. अब इस responsibility को implement करने के लिए एक tool है, that tool is called as नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन. बहुत आराम से सुनिए, लिसन वेरी केयरफुली. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन सेज, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, व्हाट आर यू डूइंग? यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर, सम ऑफ यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर सिविल सर्विसेज. ओके, सो एक्चुअली आई आस्क्ड दिस इन मोस्ट ऑफ द बैच, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग? ठीक है, खैर मजाक करो तो सीरियस हो. तो मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि many of you are actually preparing for civil services. Okay, so when somebody asks you that what are you doing, so you will say ki I am reading NCERT, or you will say that I am preparing for civil services. Somebody would ask you what are you doing these days, so you will say I am reading NCERT, or you will say today I practiced parliament chapter. What are you doing these days? अगर कोई आपसे पूछता what are you doing these days, what you will say? I'm preparing for civil services or I practice parliament chapter. I'm preparing for civil services. So to prepare for civil services, you are taking wide variety of tool. You are taking classroom program. Some of you are writing answers also. Okay. Very few of you are actually evaluating your answers. Okay. And then some of you would be taking test series. Okay. Many of you would be appearing for prelims. So actually this you will qualify prelims, you will qualify mains, and from every year we have students who are qualifying personality test. And so actually to achieve the final goal of portable document format, PDF में नाम के लिए, you are taking all these small tools, optional, GS, essay, getting my point, personality test, attending classes. So these are small tools to achieve the final goal of selection into civil services. Okay, इसमें कोई doubt नहीं है. Constitution कहता है काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर शुड बी कलेक्टिवली रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू लोकसभा, हाउस ऑफ पीपल, लोकसभा. उसके बाद चुप है. So to achieve that collective responsibility, there is one tool that is called as no confidence motion. So no confidence motion term is mentioned in the constitution. अगर prelims में statement आता है, no, it is not mentioned. It is mentioned in rules of procedure and conduct of business of Lok Sabha. Article 118 of the constitution empowers the parliament to make rules. So no confidence motion is one tool to achieve the collective responsibility of council of ministers towards Lok Sabha. ये कैसे पता चलेगा कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी को मेजॉरिटी मोदी जी को है या नहीं है? इसी पता करने के टूल का नाम है नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन. सो नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मेंशन नहीं है, लेकिन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में क्या मेंशन है कि आपको सिविल्स क्वालिफाई करना है. मतलब द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स शैल बी कलेक्टिवली रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू House of people. So this collective responsibility is promoted through the tool of no confidence motion. So is the term no confidence motion mentioned in the constitution? No. Is the term absolute veto, qualified veto, suspensive veto, pocket veto? Not mentioned in the constitution. Is the term special majority? अब तो लक्ष्मीकांत में दिया है, तो यूपीएससी तो प्रीलिम्स में पूछेगा. The term absolute veto, qualified veto, suspensive veto is mentioned in the constitution. लक्ष्मीकांत में था. You will go for true. It is not mentioned anywhere. It is an inference of Article 111 where we arrive at a conclusion that this is absolute and this is qualified or suspensive or pocket. But it is not, and UPSC will enjoy asking. And then they will have Mephistophelian smile. Ki trap. So they have that trap. They have that ego. 106 जा रहा है cut off. So getting my point. So they have that ego, we have to keep it somewhere near 100. And now they have altered ego, keep it near 92. So getting my point. So how executive will be checked? Executive को कैसे बांध के रखेंगे? It is responsible to Lok Sabha. And how this responsibility is ensured through the tool of no confidence motion. Is the term no confidence motion mentioned? नहीं. कैसे चेक करेंगे कि मोदी जी को मेजॉरिटी है या नहीं है? उस चेक करने का नाम है नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन. और ये टर्म कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मेंशन, दिस इज नॉट, इट इज ओनली मेंशन दैट काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स शैल बी कलेक्टिवली रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू हाउस ऑफ पीपल, आर्टिकल 75 क्लॉज 3. ठीक है. सो प्लीज राइट द टूल ऑफ नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन. ओके, द टूल ऑफ नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन. द टूल ऑफ नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन. ओके, ठीक है. बहुत सी ऐसी गलत फहमियां, खुश फहमियां दूर करेंगे, बिल्ली पाल लेंगे. क्यों गलत फहमी पालेंगे? ओके, सो देर आर मेनी, एंड यूपीएससी हैज कंप्लीटली चेंज इटसेल्फ फ्रॉम 2018. इफ यू आर एबल टू आंसर 7 क्वेश्चंस आउट ऑफ 16, डोंट थिंक यू आर स्मार्ट. Actually, it is for those who have applied for UPSC to keep their heart. Otherwise, they'll think ek bhi nahi aata tha. So they will not apply next year, to keep them. But those next 7 questions and next 3 questions is what you are working in this class. Okay. So if you think, and those 7 questions comfortability level will be keeping you there only next year also and then. So we have to work on those questions also. Okay. So this is it. This is doctrine of checks and balances. Okay. Now we will be starting with preamble, and then we will start with constitution, that is part 1. Okay. So please write preamble. हाँ, पूछिए. मोशन ऑफ थैंक. व्हाट इज मोशन ऑफ थैंक्स? अब चूंकि इन्होंने पूछ दिया, मोशन ऑफ थैंक है राष्ट्रपति जी. हु इज प्रेसिडेंट? व्हाट इज द पोजीशन ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया? Okay, somebody is asking a question, I am repeating. He is asking, is motion of thanks also a check on the power of executive? Okay, what's your name? Akhilesh. Nikhilesh. Okay, Nikhilesh is asking a question. Now, एक second, चूंकि पूछ दिया है तो सुनिए. President of India is a constitutional head of the state. So, President of India is a big dignitary. All presidents of India have been exceptionally qualified people. You see our present president. Have you ever seen him speaking anything against the? So if he doesn't speak, that doesn't mean that it brings grace to the office. It exhibits his high personality and great individuality. Have you ever seen any controversial statement? So presidents are above politics. Presidents bring grace to the office and they are great people. They are above politics. Have you ever seen? Whenever he'll speak of inclusivity, freedom of speech and taking people along. They are great people. Now, and if they are silent, it doesn't mean that, it means that they bring grace to the office. Now, when the president will come, okay, he will address both the houses of parliament. President आएंगे साल में एक बार, और जब नई लोकसभा बनेगी तब, at the start of every year and whenever a new Lok Sabha comes to power. 2019 में election हुआ था. So he will address a speech that is written by ministers. He will address कि what is the priority of this government. After the president will leave, जब वो चले जाएंगे दोनों हाउस को एड्रेस करके, do you think they should say thank you to him for coming? इतने बड़े लोग आए थे, तो आप उनको थैंक यू बोलेंगे आने के लिए? You will, that is called motion of thanks. So there will be thank you in Lok Sabha as well as in Raj Sabha. So motion of thanks, if it is not passed in Lok Sabha, इसका क्या मतलब है? अगर motion of thanks is defeated in Lok Sabha, it means government is not having majority in Lok Sabha. Simple मतलब है. मोशन ऑफ थैंक्स में वन बाय वन एवरीबडी विल स्टैंड एंड से मैं राष्ट्रपति जी का थैंक यू बोलता हूं, ही स्पोक अबाउट दीज थिंग्स, आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल, ऑल दीज थिंग्स. देन ही विल से आई सपोर्ट मोशन ऑफ थैंक्स. इफ मोशन ऑफ थैंक्स इज नॉट पास्ड इन लोकसभा, अगर लोकसभा में फेल कर गया, इसका मतलब गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट हैविंग मेजोरिटी इन लोकसभा, इट विल लीड टू फॉल ऑफ government. So the passage of motion of thanks also is an accountability on the executive. And what is motion of thanks? इतने बड़े प्रेसिडेंट आए थे, रूल्स में लिखा हुआ है प्रेसिडेंट विल बी रिसीव्ड बाय सेक्रेटरी जनरल ऑफ लोकसभा एंड राज्यसभा accompanied by vice president, speaker and prime minister. Everybody will be seated 10 minutes before the assigned arrival of president. रूल्स में लिखा है. When president is speaking, nobody will leave. All these, क्योंकि president is a very high dignitary, and after the president has left, everybody will stand up for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, speak about what he spoke and say thank you to him, and that thank you will be put to vote. Motion of thanks mein thanking the president will be put to actual vote, and if it is not passed, what will happen? Then the government will fall. समझ रहे हैं ना बात को? आप ही बताइए, अगर motion of thanks लोकसभा में नहीं पास हो रहा है, if motion of thanks is not passing in Lok Sabha, it means government has no majority in Lok Sabha. Motion of thanks in Raj Sabha has been amended 3 times. Once during Mrs. Gandhi's era, once during Mr. Vajpayee's era, and twice during Mr. Modi's era, because they were not having majority in Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha में गवर्नमेंट के पास मेजॉरिटी नहीं थी, तो these are the 4 instances in the history of Indian constitutionalism or republicanism or democracy जहां motion of thanks was amended in Rajya Sabha because government was not. Normally when there is absolute ladai between opposition and government, then only motion of thanks is amended. Otherwise opposition always comes together with the government to say thank you to president. कितना भी मन मुटाव हो, however acrimony is there in the heart, opposition will come with the government and say thank you to the president because he came and addressed. Members will introduce the motion. Motion will be introduced from government side and vote. Who will give vote? Everybody will vote. So if motion of thanks is defeated in Lok Sabha, इसका मतलब government is motion of thanks gets defeated in Lok Sabha, government should resign immediately. It will never ever be defeated in Lok Sabha, but it may be amended in Rajya Sabha. Opposition defeat nahi karega. It will not defeat. It will actually amend. Amendment is also very bad. If opposition is amending in Rajya Sabha, it means that ki government and opposition are on last level of collusion terms. There is no harmony, synchronization and what you call friendship, amity or collectiveness between opposition and ये. Getting my point? So we wrote preamble. अब आते हैं preamble पे. UPSC ने क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा, पहले उस ब्यूटीफुल क्वेश्चन को एड्रेस करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ही सेड कि बुक्स आर हार्ड बाउंड, जैकेटेड, नॉन जैकेटेड, फॉर्म्युलेटेड, नॉन फॉर्म्युलेटेड. चतुर सेड ना, he said what do you machine, and first he asked what is book, तो hard, then he said अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो, he said किताबें. He said na कि when he returns back he says कि क्यों आए हो? He said sir books लेने. So they, no, he said what do you? I have come to take something which is hard bound, jacketed, non-jacketed, sometimes stored in electronic form. Finally said अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो? Sir किताबें. Okay, and Chatur also says machine are a very electronic, and he actually, so actually what constitution wishes to convey is there in the preamble. And this was 2017 prelims question. In order to understand the minds of the makers of constitution, which of the following provision shall be referred to? 2017 prelims का question है, in order to understand the minds of the makers of constitution, which of the following provision has to be referred to? Correct answer is preamble. पूरे constitution का gist, किस तरीके के मुल्क की संरचना की गई है, what kind of India was envisaged by the founding mothers and fathers of the constitution is provided in the preamble. पूरे constitution का मतलब क्या है? What is the meaning of the constitution? What is the purpose of this constitution? And what kind of India was dreamt by the founding mothers and fathers of this country is nichod, is given in the preamble. So preamble is actually a philosophical document detailing out the ideology of the constitution. एक बात. दूसरी बात, मैं कहूंगा खड़े होके कि for next 1 year I'll get up at 5 o'clock, I'll run for 1 hour, then I'll take rest for 7.5 minutes, okay, then again get back. So, and I'll say for 30 minutes. So, words in the end, there is an English phrase, in the end promises are just words. In the end promises are just words. If I say these things that I'll be doing for next 1 year, and if I don't do them, तो क्या है ये? What is this? This is actually a cheat. So, preamble ki, whatever is there in the constitution, preamble was adopted on 26 November 1949. जब पूरा constitution बन गया, from 9th December 1946 and last day, when Constituent Assembly last में जब constitution का आखिरी दिन, Constituent Assembly adopted, enacted the preamble of India. क्यों? This question actually has been asked in mains. Why preamble was adopted, enacted on the last? ताकि जो हम कह रहे हैं वो already constitution में है. Whatever ideals, principles and ideologies we are adding in the preamble actually is also there. So preamble was adopted on the last day so that the provisions that we are mentioning in the preamble actually is found in the constitution. अब क्या होता? First day we adopted preamble, बड़ी बड़ी बातें, and whatever is there in the preamble is not there in the constitution. So constitution will be in harmony with the preamble. No. So this question has been asked, why preamble was adopted? Why preamble was adopted at the last? To give out a saaf dil se, with open and clear heart, give out a message to the world that the preamble, principles of the preamble actually are found in the constitution. That is why preamble was adopted, enacted on the last day. You're getting this? You're getting this? So preamble was adopted, enacted on the last day. ठीक है? What is preamble? 2017 prelims question. Preamble, can we say that preamble is the summing up? Palkhiwala ji said preamble is the identity card of the constitution. ये मैं नहीं, Mr. Palkhiwala said. Okay, कैसे? I ask, you are doing computer application second year, masters in computer application second year. The moment I say, what are you doing these days? You will say, I am doing beginners all purpose symbolic instruction code, basic. So you will not say that, na, or I am doing core division multiple access technology, CDMA, or GSM, global system for mobile communication. So you will not, you will say, actually I am in MCA second year. So what you will say is the synopsis of all you study and your identity. So Palkhiwala ji ne kaha, preamble is the identity card of the constitution. Question UPSC asked, in order to understand the minds of the makers of constitution, which of the following shall be referred? Fundamental rights, DPSP, and one other thing was there, I'm forgetting, and correct answer was preamble. So so what is preamble? Can we say that preamble is synopsis of the constitution? Can we say that what kind of India is dreamt is there in the preamble? So all these, so is it important? आपकी जो उसूल और आदर्श हैं वो सारी चीजें, whatever is your ideology and principles that are found in the preamble. And why preamble was adopted on the last day? To give out a message to the world कि this preamble is in perfect harmony with the constitution. एक छोटी सी बात, then we will go on a break. Just I know 10th May 1857 is coming. Okay. So you have preamble. Okay. For example, this is preamble. ये preamble है. Okay. Now this is a conceptual UPSC question which can be envisaged, foreseen. For example, there is a difference between concept and content. ठीक है? The concept of, you must have heard directive principle of state policy. Some of you who have read some book in physics, civics, directive principle of state policy. The concept of DPSP we have borrowed from Irish constitution, but the content of DPSP is not Irish. Village panchayat है वहां, maternity benefit है वहां, getting my point, early childhood care है वहां, economic social justice है वहां. So there is a difference between content and concept. So अब समझ में आ रहा है? For example, the concept of having a watch over your left wrist may have come from some place. But what kind of watches are popular in India? That is, the content of watch is actually indigenous. For example, the idea of having a laptop is something we have inspired from Western electronic development. But in India, you need ekdam easy version of Windows. Okay, so get it. So, and that too a pirated one. Okay, so it is actually, the content is purely, you have a certain way of keeping. Okay, Apple has a different way and it is not adjustable. You're getting my, we have a different set of understanding of the world. So actually there is a difference between content and concept. The concept of preamble has come from the preamble that was there two places, US के constitution में, and you have United Nations Charter also, you have We the People of United Nations. Okay, so the concept of preamble has come from US Constitution and UN Charter, but content तो उनका नहीं है, content तो हमारा है. कहाँ से आया content? So you must be vigilant. What is the content and what is the concept? Okay, अब बताइए concept. Concept तो चलो हम समझ गए कि we have borrowed it from UN Charter and United States Constitution uses the first time introduced the concept of preamble. But from where we have inspired the content? Huh? Constitution? Constitution ही में तो है. हाँ? सुनिए. On 13th this, when was the first time Constituent Assembly met? इसको हिंदी में कहते हैं पहली बार संविधान सभा कब मिली थी? 9 दिसंबर 1946, यानी आजादी से पहले या बाद? आजादी से 9-10 महीने पहले, 9-10 months. So 9 December 1946 for the first time Constituent Assembly met. Okay, first time. So 9 December को एक मीटिंग हुई, फिर 1-2 दिन का गैप हुआ. On 13 December Jawaharlal Nehru stood on the dais of Constituent Assembly. यानी 13 दिसंबर को वो खड़े हुए and he said, dear members of Constituent Assembly, Honorable Chairman sir and dear members of Constituent Assembly, what is the purpose we have gathered here? And he gave a long speech of 45 minutes. This is the purpose why we have gathered here. For next few years we will be making a Constitution of India, and that Constitution of India will have these ideals and principles and ideologies. उसके बाद उन्होंने एक objectives resolution पेश किया. In January it was voted क्योंकि बंद हो गया, and again that resolution was passed. So actually it was the speech of Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru on 13 December 1946 that formed part of the content of the preamble. So the content of preamble is inspired from the 13 December 1946 speech of Jawaharlal Nehru. जो जो बातें उन्होंने कही थी कि इन इस तरह का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन विल बी हैपनिंग, ऑल्दो वी हैव आल्सो इंस्पायर्ड फ्रॉम यूएन चार्टर एंड यूएस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, बट द मेन कंटेंट ऑफ प्रियम्बल इज देयर फ्रॉम द स्पीच ऑफ जवाहरलाल. सो यू अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कंटेंट एंड कंसेप्ट. सो ये हमें यूएस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन और यूएन चार्टर informed us that we can have a preamble, but what will be there inside the preamble is from the speech of Mr. Nehru on 13 December 1946. उन्होंने कहा, we have just started making the constitution. I want to convey to my dear members, what is the purpose of this constitution? The purpose of this constitution is to promote justice, liberty, equality and fraternity, freedom of speech and expression. Getting, so he actually conveyed the कि इस संविधान सभा के आने का मकसद क्या है. उसी स्पीच को बाद में पार्लियामेंट, ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली में वोटिंग हुई. द सेम स्पीच वाज वोटेड अपॉन इन जनवरी एंड इट फॉर्म्ड पार्ट ऑफ preamble. So you are getting, so preamble is the concept of preamble is inspired from US Constitution and UN Charter, but the content of preamble is actually some we have borrowed from French Revolution. We know this. Liberty, equality, fraternity, which was also repeated by Mr. Nehru. Some we have inspired from UN Charter also. Like you, उसमें लिखा है, we the people of United Nations, we the people of India. And also a broad part from the objectives resolution that was actually a speech given by Jawaharlal Nehru ji. Motion of thanks क्या है? A speech is given by president and that speech is voted upon. So objective resolution also was a speech given by Mr. Nehru. Actually that was voted upon. So we will see what is preamble, each and every term of the preamble with examples comprehensively after the break. Okay? हाँ. क्या बताइए? नाइ इंडेक्स, okay, light index, you, yes, see, like index of the book. Okay, see, index of the book is, index is like things which are coming is detailed out, but to an extent you can say it is understanding it. You see, what you can say, anything that is not in the constitution or in a statutory provision you can say, but how you will justify that? To an extent you can say it is sort of index which gives an insight into what is going to come. आप समझ रहे हैं? ठीक है, चलिए, ठीक है, we take a break of 10 minutes, 600 seconds. Okay, let's start. Okay, online students, we cannot take, sir, is it like a disclaimer, objective picture abhi baki hai mere dost, which tell in examples, please tell in English, sir. Okay, see, always I repeat, Vijay, we always repeat in English without a shadow of doubt. So, of course, whenever we use Hindi, of course, I see, it is just for common understanding because I get repeated mails, ki sir, little bit Hindi so that we understand, but it is my personal thing also. In fact, I want to learn many languages. Honestly, every language is beautiful, and whenever you will not lose anything, if it is said in Hindi, it will be repeated in English. Many a times, jokes cannot be repeated. Okay, because translator is a traitor. You cannot translate the expression. For example, in Hindi, we say "I" to repeat. So you cannot translate that in any language. Emotions are particular to a language. So that is the thing. Second thing, many a times while explaining a thing, I mention many acts. You are not required to remember those acts. If anything is to be remembered, I will, without a shadow of doubt, I will just make you write that. If I say about many acts, that is just to let you understand. You don't need to write those acts and all. Okay. Whatever is required to be written, definitely it will be dictated. And regarding English, so anyways, I'll try now to keep it 100%. But still, if it requires an explanation, because I receive mails, that's a thoda sa tadka lag jata Hindi ka, like there is some spice of Hindi, so that is, everything will, I am actually very, very receptive to this, what you call heterogeneity of the, what you call society, and we must respect that, so don't mind, okay? And there is, there is an English phrase, for those who mind, they don't matter. For those who matter, they never mind. Okay. So how do executives keep a check on legislature? No confidence, mehak, we will do without a shadow of doubt. When we are doing parliament, we'll do. That was just a mention. We will we'll come again to that point. Okay. Shashidhar picture abhi baki. Okay, please. Okay. What happens in today Kaushal trailer of this is? Yes, question R is there also. Noman. Check majority. No confidence motion will be done exhaustively in parliament chapter. We'll do no confidence motion, article 75 and also article 164 dealing with state legislature. But if I say when you start geography, you say land, air, water. Immediately you say land and you do not start using all the layers. So you must wait. Okay. So now we have, is election a check? Amending matlab Janvi Jan, amending ka matlab hai when motion of thanks is there. Amending means you want to bring a change. What do you mean by the term amendment? Change. So motion of thanks is a verbal thing. It is also a written document. Whatever the president will speak in written form, it will be distributed to all the members. It is a written document. So if you want to pass that motion of thanks by amending the written document, it is amendment to motion of thanks. Whatever the president says will be written also and it will be distributed to all the members. Then there will be a voting on that written matter. And if somebody moves an amendment, so motion of thanks will be passed with that a change. So that is the change. It will not be passed with the change in Lok Sabha because government is having majority. It may be passed with change in Raj Sabha where government is not having a majority. So whatever the president says is also in a written form. Now if you want to pass that with a change, that is called change in the motion of thanks. An amendment can only be introduced. It can be introduced in both the houses, but no point. Lok Sabha mein government has a majority to it will. Government ke paas, why Prime Minister Modi is in power? Because he has a majority in Lok Sabha. Aisa ho sakta hai, government should be in power and not having majority. So of course, we'll see some scenarios, otherwise not. So definitely motion of thanks if it gets amended in Lok Sabha, then it means the government is not having majority. Agar motion of thanks Lok Sabha mein bhi defeat ho gaya, iska matlab government ke paas majority. If motion of thanks is defeated in Lok Sabha, means government is not having majority. So it will never get defeated in Lok Sabha, but it can get defeated in Rajya Sabha. And government में बने रहने के लिए, to be in government, you don't need majority in Rajya Sabha, you need majority in Lok Sabha only. So this is the thing, okay? ठीक है. अब थोड़ा, are periodic elections a type of check? Of course, many ways we'll see. Okay, अभी शुरू करते हैं क्योंकि 3 दिन से हमारा वही चल रहा है. अभी मेहमान आए हैं, ठीक है. अभी कुछ अभी. Okay, so this is the Constitution of India. First, how to read the Constitution. Okay, what you need to do first, you can download an app of the Constitution. Those who are preparing for civil services, they can download an app of Constitution. Okay, or if you are using an iPad or a MacBook or a laptop or any other source, mobile phone, at least get a PDF or an app. Okay, app say you will actually read it, okay, because they are targeting some books. Deliberately they are targeting some books because everybody is reading from that book. So they are deliberately targeting some books, and one of those books are, so I'm not saying anything. So the point is, getting my point. So deliberately. So it is not that you don't need the book. You need the book. Pizza sirf base de diya, lijiye khaiye. So it's like it's when you go to eat somewhere, you cannot say, acha yahi rakh dijiye. So you need a plate na. So basics must be there. So you need a plate to eat, but food is also important. So questions that they are asking, आप देखिए 2019 से question, and do not overthink. If their question is asked that how many fingers are there in a hand, what will you say? 5, or you'll say Ritik has 6. तो ये कोई बात है. अभी इस बार I was taking this question, I cannot take so many जबरदस्ती का objections which UPSC will also, and answer key comes after Shraddh, final list. So तब तक next PT is at the door, you are already tensed. Okay, so we have the Constitution of India? Okay. First, here it is written 1. Okay. So, now you see. It means that there is an amendment. So, if 1 is written, niche 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So, briefly, we will see how to understand Constitution. ये भी तो आना चाहिए ना? What are the terms that are used? Proviso, what is the meaning? Okay. उसको 2 मिनट बस मैं चाहता हूं आप सीख ले. Is thumb a finger? Okay. So, for example, anything. So, we have hard copy you can use, no problem. Hard copy these days is like who uses? Matlab, you can use, of course you can use, but it will not be handy all the time, na? Okay, see, one thing I want to see, let you see. For example, if there is a provision in the Constitution, who can amend the Constitution? Not Parliament, only Parliament. Only Parliament, okay. So all cats are dog doesn't mean all dogs are cats. It means all cats are dog. There can be other people who are dogs. So, but all cats are obviously dogs. Okay. So the point is, who can amend the Constitution? Only Parliament. If the Supreme Court strikes down a piece of amendment by the Parliament, मैं अभी 20 एग्जाम्पल दिखा सकता हूं. अगर वहां पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट स्ट्राइक डाउन करता है, इफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट स्ट्राइक्स डाउन अ पर्टिकुलर थिंग, विल इट गेट डिलीटेड फ्रॉम द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? नो. Supreme Court doesn't have power to change the Constitution. If the provision has been stricken down by the Supreme Court, then also you will find that in Constitution. You download the Constitution from the Ministry of Law and Justice, it will be as it is. But नीचे लिखा होगा down the line that this provision has been declared unconstitutional by Supreme Court. So, for example, if there is a change in Article 31C, यहाँ 6 है, so you see. अब देखिए. For example, it is 4. So you have 4, all of the other principles laid down in part 4. अब नीचे 4 पे they have written, substituted by 42nd Amendment, Section 4 has been declared invalid by Supreme Court in Minerva Mills case and others. So it will be there in the Constitution, but it will not be valid. Supreme Court cannot change a word in the Constitution. It can declare a word as dead by declaring it as null and void. Still, if you download the Constitution from the Ministry of Law and Justice, it will be there. There will be an asterisk down the line. It will be written that this provision has been declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. एक और example लेंगे, फिर we'll move. So, can the Supreme Court make changes in the Constitution? अब देखिए. Article 124A was added by 99th Constitutional Amendment Act. ठीक है? Article 124A को 99th Constitutional Amendment Act के जरिए जोड़ा गया. 124A, 124B, 124C. Now the Supreme Court on 16th October 2015 in Supreme Court Advocate on Record Association versus Union of India इसको unconstitutional घोषित कर दिया. But will it not be there in the Constitution? Yes, it will be there. But see, so 124A के आगे यहाँ क्या है? 1 second. This is 124A. Just a second. So we have 124A. What is written here? 1. Now see down the line. Okay. So now we see here it is written, inserted by 99th Amendment Act 2014. This amendment has been struck down by Supreme Court on 16th October 2015 in Supreme Court Advocate on Record Association versus Union of India. So if a provision has been declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, it will still be there in the Constitution, but it will be written that this provision has been declared unconstitutional. So you will not get confused. This I just wanted to let you know how to read the Constitution. One word again it is used in the Constitution, proviso. Proviso. Proviso का मतलब होता है condition. मतलब कि he will go to Rajendra Nagar, okay, or he will go on a trip to Goa. Proviso, he qualifies prelims. So there is actually a condition, that is proviso. So if you use, whenever you read constitution, kahin bhi you see a number, down the line there would be a explanation of that number that will help you in understanding the constitution. Okay, well, theek hai? Koi doubt nahi? Now we go to preamble. So can the Supreme Court change a word in the constitution? No. Who will actually change? Parliament. But still the Supreme Court can make it null and void. Lekin rahega wahi. Who can actually amend? Constitution. So first thing we have here is preamble. Okay. So preamble, the idea of preamble has been inspired from UN Charter, and which constitution in the world gave the idea of preamble? US Constitution. And which is the first written constitution of the world? So please write. Please write. Huh? No, niche explanation 1 karke propose. I'll show you when we do Article 4. It is condition, subject to. Number is not related to that. It will be written explanation. I'll show you when we do Article 4, 3. Please write. Now, I will give you 2 quotes. When you write a quote in your answer, of course, it is more beautiful and it invites. I told you now, when you write an essay and you write, there was a guy called Mukesh, and you don't write anything, evaluator will die. He wants to know na, ki what you are going to say about Mukesh. So he's a human being. So you should actually engage the examiner by quotes, by anecdotes, especially in essay. Personal stories, sachi, jhuti, whatever. Get you? So you must engage him. Otherwise, your copy is just like 10 ahead and 10 down the line. And for that, you have to be smart. I literally know few people. One of them have been invited to interview. They are brutally smart. They just study few hours. They have actually decoded. And every year, yes, I know somebody who got 250 rank once, got into IPS. Second, again got 150 rank. And this time, because he could, now there is a rule, you cannot apply for the same service if you have been, so he applied for IRS, he got IRS and didn't go. Again, this time invited. So there are certain, actually, let me be honest, exam is about 2 things, correct strategy and mental agility. Pura ka pura exam, aapke mental endurance. One thing which I have found common in 400 people, if I personally know who are selected, is all of them are self-centered and mental strength. Exam is not about intelligence, otherwise only IITians and those who have topped the chart from the school will. Exam is about mental strength, how you take the stress. Because for 1 year, 2 years, you will be studying the same thing. You do not need to get recognition from the society. What common things in 6 years I have seen, common negatives of the non-serious student. First, he will always try to qualify prelims to impress relatives. First sign of a non-serious student. Second sign of a non-serious student, he will always concentrate on prelims, never have the confidence that I will write mains. Okay, second sign of a non-serious student. Getting my point? So this is the, I'll tell you, if you, God forbid, if somebody is writing prelims, if he or she, everybody will talk about success. I'll say, if you don't qualify for prelims, next day distribute 4 kg sweets and start preparing for the next year. I'll give you 2 examples. One of my friend couldn't qualify prelims in 2014. Next day he was there in the library, and all those who were writing mains that year, many of them could not qualify. Next year he was into the list, and next year home cadre Jharkhand, IPS. Another friend who got selected in 2015, he said, Amil bhai, the best thing that happened to me, ki this time, last time I couldn't qualify prelims. I got 1 complete year. A serious candidate who doesn't qualify prelims actually enjoys the process and knows down the heart that I don't need to prove anybody that I will qualify prelims. He prepares for the next day, enjoys, relishes the moment and keeps on studying, never takes any stress. And you just prepare. Next year you will have 1 complete year and you can. So even if you are not making it, that gives you an opportunity to do not go to prove anybody. Because there is a list of smart people released by portable document format. every year in the month of June, and that will declare. Okay, no need to, like, even if you are qualifying or not, those who are writing, take it in a very light heart and just prepare. A non-serious student for first 3 months will celebrate in Goa, and then sad parties, and then he will start for prelims from January. Mains to bhul jaiye, और next year फिर वही होगा. So prelims is about mental strength, how you handle the question. I'll show you few questions which actually are not questions anywhere in the history of humankind, just to test whether in the examination hall you have actually panicked or not. कुछ क्वेश्चन ही नहीं बनता है, 3-4 क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी ऐसा डाल देने की आदत है टू टेस्ट वेदर यू आर देयर. सो इट इज all about strategy and mental strength. How can you read the same things, and you do not get affirmation from anybody else. Get affirmation only from yourself, and of course your parents are important. And one thing which you will common is emotion wale people normally are at the bottom ladder of the society, and the moment you will go up, emotion is a very, very dangerous thing. Getting affirmation from people, getting recognized in friend circle that he is very good in polity, geography, history, economy, or mathematics. Okay, these things do not matter. Emotion should be sidelined. Strategy and mental endurance in the preparation. पूरा check ही यहाँ का है, पूरा चूस लेता है एकदम कि how this person will react when there is a fire and he is the district magistrate. He will not run into fire. He will actually step, think, and then. So this is about mental endurance. पूरा exam mental check है. All the people who have qualified. One common point: self-centered and mentally strong. Talent तो एकदम last level पे. Question पूछ रहा है basics. What are the functions of finance commission? पढ़ो, लिख दो. This is not like IIT. In IIT में even if you get 20 questions correct, it will translate into 99 percentile. In CAT, if you get 25 questions from a section correct, you will get IIM Ahmedabad. So this is the difference between UPSC. All 20 questions are easy, no intellectual bent, but the syllabus is vast. That requires, it is very simple, but it is very tough to be simple. Okay. So we have Constitution of India. First thing that conveys is, please लिखिए उसमें जो लिखवा रहे थे, दो tool लिखिए. It is the identity card of the Constitution. It is the identity card of the Constitution. Mr. Palkhiwala. Who said this? Mr. Palkhiwala. N.A. Palkhiwala लिखते हैं. N.A. Palkhiwala. Then please write the Supreme Court in Golaknath judgment. The Supreme Court in Golaknath judgment the Supreme Court in Golaknath, G-O-L-A-K, Golaknath, N-A-T-H, going together, Golak and Nath. Okay, 1967 judgment hai. The Supreme Court in Golaknath judgment stated that preamble reflects the Supreme Court in Golaknath judgment stated that preamble reflects the ideals and inspiration of the Constitution. Ideals and inspiration of the Constitution. आगे लिखिए. In order to understand the minds of the makers of the Constitution, in order to understand the minds of the makers of the Constitution, in order to understand the minds of the makers of the Constitution, we must refer to preamble. Actually, this was a prelims question also. We must refer to preamble. Okay, अब लिखिए. Now, there are some terms which normally which are used in newspaper, a bit tough also, so no problem. It embodies in a solemn form, S, it embodies, 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 it embodies in a solemn form, SOLEMN, कसम खाना, to take an oath. It embodies in a solemn form, FORM, ठीक है, छूट रहा है कोई बात नहीं. It embodies, EMBODIES, embodies in a solemn form. 1 second, no problem. It तो लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है ना. It IT, information technology, okay, embodies in a, actually you want to be in a comfort zone. I don't want you to be in comfort zone. I don't want you to cry after 2 years. I want you to cry in the class only. On the day of exam, you should be like chilling out, और बाकी मिला रहे होंगे कि 98, 99, आप 124. So it is like, so problem with the mass is they want to be in that form, और उसके लिए उनको चाहिए basic feeding. What do you mean by finance commission? और उन expect भी करेंगे question भी वही पूछे, और UPSC बोलेगा मैं नहीं पूछ रहा. So what will you do? So actually, so it embodies in a solemn form all the ideals and aspirations. It embodies in a solemn form all the ideals and inspiration. हाँ हाँ हाँ, aspirations, आप लोग के चलते मैं भी भूल गया. Aspirations, sorry. So it embodies in a solemn form all the ideals and aspirations that we collectively demanded during the freedom struggle. Collectively demanded during the freedom struggle. ओके, फुल स्टॉप. ठीक है, इसको समझते हैं. फर्स्ट, वॉट एवर द कांग्रेस रेजोल्यूशन वॉज पास्ड बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस, now that they got an opportunity to make the constitution, all the Congress resolutions were incorporated in the constitution. Pehle what we were demanding from the British, now we are actually making that when we get an opportunity. Getting my point? Next you write, the concept of preamble the concept of preamble has been inspired from UN Charter and US Constitution. UN Charter and US Constitution. And the concept of preamble has been inspired from UN Charter and US Constitution. UN Charter का date क्या है? Favorite question of UPPSC, मतलब state PSC. What is the date of this UN Declaration of Human Rights? Actually, this question has been asked also. Huh? UN Declaration of Human Rights. Acha, we'll see that. Now you write, what did you write? 10 December 1948. The concept of preamble has been inspired from US Constitution and UN Charter, while the content is taken from Objectives Resolution by Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru Objectives resolution by Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru. Content is taken from Objectives resolution by Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru on which date? 13 December 1946. 13 December 1946. Very good. ठीक है, आगे लिखिए. Now we again switch to this. Okay. What is the first thing that this is conveying? Okay, just a second. Actually, what is the first thing that it is conveying? From where constitution is deriving legitimacy? People. So there is an English term that final sovereignty lies with the people. So constitution mein, this question has been asked also in many exams, that where does the final sovereignty lies? So final sovereignty, from where constitution is deriving its power? From the people. So you write source of power to the constitution. Source of power to the constitution. Source of power to the constitution. Okay? Please write, put a dash, semicolon. Don't put a dash and semicolon. What is the source of power? Constitution को शक्तियां कहां से मिल रही है? From where the constitution is getting power and legitimacy? From the people. So you write, people are the final sovereign. People are the final sovereign, and the constitution, people are the final sovereign, and the constitution derives its legitimacy from people are the final sovereign, and the constitution derives its legitimacy from we the people. Full stop. We, comma, the people. Okay? अच्छा, सुनिए. First is, so can we say that source of power of constitution is people? So from where Indra actually, just as a pass-by information, in one of the cases of Supreme Court, somebody challenged the validity of constitution. On which ground? Said कि constitution में there were members who were nominated by princely states. So they were not elected by the state legislative assembly. So nominated members cannot reflect the will of the people of India. Supreme Court ने actually Indira Gandhi killers actually challenged this. Supreme Court said कि भैया, constitution represents the will of people of India is a settled preposition, and there can be no debate about that. Because if the Supreme Court accepts constitution as not representative of the people, existence of Supreme Court is from the so it is, they said it is a settled proposition that the constitution derives its legitimacy from the people and final sovereignty lies with the people. अब next line लिखिए, enacting clause. Enacting clause. ENACTING, enacting clause. Enacting clause. Okay? Ab somebody has asked, we the people of India. Why we not, we the citizens of India? Why not? First of all, citizenship is bestowed as per Article 11 of the Constitution, Entry 17 of Union List and Citizenship Act 1955. पहले Constitution आया तब citizen आया. अभी citizen पैदा ही नहीं हुआ, उसने Constitution को दे दिया right. How did we, you and me, became citizen of India? How did we become citizen? Citizen by birth, by Citizenship Act 1955. Before we become citizen, we establish a document that will make us citizen. So how did we become citizen? by the constitution. So how can we become citizen and make a constitution and then again become a citizen? Huh? Huh? So the existence of the idea of citizenship is derived from constitution. So first we need to be people, establish a constitution and then give to ourselves that constitution, and that constitution will make us citizen. अभी citizen बने ही नहीं है और qualify किया ही नहीं है और local police station चले गए. Yes, I come here. So okay, so you write enacting clause. Okay. He will just like anyways. So enacting clause, this question actually has been asked, when was preamble enacted and adopted? ठीक है, ये question कई बार आ चुका है. Okay, this question has been asked. UPSC normally last time asked this question in 2010. How many spokes are there in Indian flag? बस ये last time factual question. अब what do you mean by liberty? Okay, so now they are asking a question that is, they don't expect एक दो question to keep that person also happy. एक दो question, what is the full form of नीति आयोग? पूछ दिया कि तू भी खुश रह भाई, पर you cannot qualify. Many people got that wrong. That's a different. So it is like in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November, we hereby adopt, enact and give to. So when was Constitution adopted and enacted? On 26th November 1949. So please write enacting clause में, the Constitution was adopted and enacted. The Constitution was adopted and enacted on 26th November 1949. Okay, ठीक है? Actually, I want to give some additional information. But the moment I gave some additional information, what happened? Some people, I am actually restrained in your batch because some people say ki, sir, that additional information will again come. It will, nothing will be left. You have to trust and give time. Okay. But sometimes it is necessary to give something which is related. It will again come. Patience rakhna hai. But it is also necessary to let you understand. Every word that I have used, if it is relevant, I'll make you write. Otherwise, I will actually just as a pass-by information to let you understand by examples and different things. Okay. Now it is acha. For example, I say ki you can travel throughout India. Okay. So there must be a fixed boundary of India for you to enjoy the right to travel India. So a question arose before Supreme Court that is preamble part of the Constitution or is preamble not part of the Constitution? Okay. Why do you think is it necessary to decide whether preamble is part of the Constitution or not? क्यों necessary है? Exactly. Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution. If preamble is not part of the Constitution, Parliament cannot amend the preamble. Parliament Constitution को amend कर सकती है. अगर preamble Constitution का part नहीं है तो उसको amend नहीं कर सकती है. So it is important for, so Parliament can amend the Constitution. If preamble is not part of the Constitution, it will not be amended. So Supreme Court first said in 1969 that preamble is not part of the Constitution. But on 24th April 1973, in Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala, Supreme Court ने कहा कि no, preamble is part of the Constitution. And after 1973 came 1976, when 42nd Constitutional Amendment was passed, which came into force on 3rd January 1977, which actually amended preamble. So पहले Supreme Court ने कहा first the Supreme Court said that preamble is part of the Constitution. Parliament has power to amend the Constitution. If preamble is not part of the Constitution, Parliament cannot amend. So it is very pertinent, important and what imperative to define whether preamble is part of the Constitution or not. Supreme Court ने कहा preamble is part of the Constitution. Now the Parliament can actually amend the preamble. So please write Parliament as a preamble as a part of Constitution and underline. Parliament as a part of preamble as a part of constitution and underline. Preamble as a part of constitution and underline. ठीक है? Please continue writing. Initially in Re-Berubari Union case, initially तो मालूम होगा in Beru, actually it is Beru Badi. In West Bengal you have Badi concept. So it is initially in Beru Badi. Initially in Beru Badi Union case, the Supreme Court ruled that, the Supreme Court advised that, because it was an advisory case. We'll see that. Abhi bolunga phir aap log. So initially in Berubari Union case, the Supreme Court advised that preamble is NOT in capital letters, not part of the Constitution. Not part of the Constitution. Initially in Berubari Union case, the Supreme Court advised that preamble is not part of the Constitution, but later on in initially Supreme Court advised that preamble is not part of the Constitution, but later on in Keshwananda Bharti versus State of Kerala case, the Supreme Court, but later on in Keshwananda Bharti versus State of Kerala case, the Supreme Court ruled that preamble is part, capital letter में लिखिए, part of the Constitution. Preamble is part of the Constitution. Okay? Preamble is part of the Constitution. Okay. Now, what is the, let it open. Okay. So it says, we the people of India. So what is the source of legitimacy of Constitution? People. Where does the final sovereignty lies? People. Now, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. We the people of India do hereby solemnly resolve. हम कसम खाते हैं. We take an oath. We take a solemn oath. Solemnly resolve to constitute India. भारत को कैसा बनाना है? What kind of India we want? We the people of India do hereby take an oath that will make India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So the first term that is here is sovereign. So please write in English sovereign. Right? ठीक है? Just give me 7 days. 7 to 8 days. Phil, you will understand what is there, everything. You just need to have patience. Sovereign. Ab suniye. For example, now one very important thing. How did India get independence? Okay, so let's use the white technology at our disposal. Okay. So we have, see, a law. Who gave us independence? At that time, who gave us independence? इसमें तो कोई doubt नहीं है. Britishers gave us. Okay? Freedom struggle, everything is there. But factual statement, we got freedom from British. इसमें कोई doubt है? So you have, अब in Pakistan NCRT they write, earlier India was part of Pakistan. So it is their galat fahmi, khush fahmi, or whatever fahmi they carry better. So it is, if the grandson is this smart, let him be. Okay. So, Abhi, we'll see a beautiful law, then we'll understand. Okay. So now please, and there is a legal rule I told you in English grammar. Whenever you write act in the middle of sentence, you will always write with a capital letter. ये English grammar का rule है. When you are talking about a legal law, it will be written with capital letter. You cannot write act with small letter. It means doing something. That verb wala act, and this is a grammatical law ka, this is a law rule. In our law days we have understood, read that this is act will always be written with a capital letter, even in the middle of a sentence. If you write with small letter, it will not be law, it will be doing something. Like you can better write West Asia instead of Middle East. Middle East to Europeans used to call. In the East, apne liye Middle East hai, apne liye West Asia. You cannot say Indo-China. Indo-China is for Southeast Asia, bhaiya. Indo-China means, pehle it is, the term is meaning Vietnam. Now, entire Southeast Asia is called as Indo-China. You will write Sino-India. Sino-India for India-China and Indo-China for Southeast Asia. You cannot write Indian ambassador to Pakistan. We don't send ambassadors to Commonwealth countries, we send high commissioners. Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan, New Zealand, Australia, Canada. Indian Ambassador to USA, France, Germany. Getting my point? So we send ambassadors, or for any other country, where British, Indian Ambassador to China. So we use Indian ambassadors for non-Commonwealth countries, High Commissioners for Commonwealth countries. We used West Asia, better Middle East. Indo-China matlab Southeast Asia. They are ethnically Chinese, culturally Indian. So Southeast Asia. But in India-China ke liye we'll use the term Sino-India. Same answer you are writing, same answer somebody else is writing. Only thing that is, ek word se intellectual maturity. Ki what is the depth of knowledge? Very plain. But every word that you use, you cannot throw the word casually, because 1 marks 1 kidney. So 5.5 marks they give. 5, they don't have that much kidneys. Eyes wise sab aap le rahe hain. So you have to be very precise, brutally informed as per the constitution. Every term should be used in your answer. Immediately that will reflect your maturity, and the person who is evaluating will understand. Same answer, 2 people have written 5 different words, ways, they will understand the difference. So these are minute things we'll keep on during the entire session. India Independence Act was a law that was passed by British Parliament. Where is it? British Parliament? United Kingdom. That established the dominions of India and Pakistan. Okay? Initially. That is the term that is used. Okay? Now, okay, and it gave 3 things. 1, there will be one India, there will be one Pakistan. Princely state can join either of the 2 and remain independent. So how can we allow? We fought for so long against the Britishers, and now we will allow these to actually rule. So actually we'll obviously get them into the fold by hook or by crook. So, okay, so now tomorrow, if India Independence Act 1947 was a law passed by the British Parliament, which actually led to the independence of India. Tomorrow, if British Parliament repeals this law, the independent status of India, can it go? Because the independence is a result of a law. Independence is a result of a law. So sovereignty is a result of a law. Now we will see one thing. So to avoid any such confusion, what has been done? Okay, I'll just show you a very important thing. Then you will understand the concept of sovereignty. Okay, just a second. Just a second. Okay. So now, 1 second. See, India Independence Act led to the birth of India, technically on paper. So if India Independence Act is repealed by British Parliament, can our independence go? No. बोलने से तो नहीं होगा ना? No. So there must be a written. So Article 395 of the Constitution repealed India Independence Act. Article 395 of the Constitution repealed India Independence Act to avoid any confusion कि our independence is not a result of a law passed by British Parliament. So India Independence Act and all the Government of India Act 1935 together will all enactments and amendments are hereby repealed. So the last article of the Constitution actually repealed India Independence Act to give to कोई confusion ना रहे, no confusion should be there that independence of India is not a result of an ordinary law passed by the British Parliament. You're getting my point? Sovereignty को complete किया क्या इस article ने? Because our independence is not somebody's law passed by the British Parliament. So we actually deleted India Independence Act 395 to give a clear message that our sovereignty is not incomplete, but it is complete, and it is not a result of your ordinary law. Okay, the very clear message. अब चूंकि देख ही रहे तो इसकी एक दो मौसेरी बहन भी है आसपास. Okay, two things. Now, if India will become republic on 26 January 1950, so before becoming republic, president will be there, so election commission should be there. So some provisions of the constitution came into force on 26 November 1949 only. Provisions related to citizenship, election commission of India. So 7 or 9 articles came into force on 26 November. Baki 98% of constitution came into force on 26 January 1950. And finally, what is the name of constitution is also given in the constitution. ये एक basic question interview में पूछ के हाँ वो तो कहलाता है, सुना था, कहा था. So article 393 says this constitution may be called Constitution of India. This is just the name. And article 395 says some provisions of the constitution will come into force 26 some provisions shall come into force at once, yani abhi, or rest provisions will come into force on 26 January 1950. Provisions related to citizenship, election commission of India, some definitions and all these things. So you're getting this. So article 395 ne kya kiya? India Independence Act was a law passed by British Parliament. In that law, it was written that on 15th August 1947, Friday, India will get independence, and 14th August 1947, Thursday, Pakistan will get independence. So the Indian independence was a result of a law passed by British Parliament. Tomorrow they repeal the law, so our independence will also. So getting so what we actually did, we repealed the law only. You're getting my point. So Article 395 of the Constitution does nothing but actually repeal का मतलब खत्म कर देना, मौत कर देना. Okay, so die, death. Okay, so India Independence Act 1947 is hereby repealed. So give a clear message to the world that the sovereignty of India cannot be diluted under any circumstances, or it is not subject to any law. You're getting my point. The sovereignty matlab, ab what do you mean by the term sovereign? Sovereign ka do matlab hai. Internal sovereign and external sovereign. External sovereign means we will decide whom we will keep friend, whom we will keep enemy. So Nehru ji was asked in parliament that India is joining Commonwealth and UN. So is it diluting our sovereignty? He stood and answered. He said, joining of United Nations as a founding member and becoming part of Commonwealth is something which we have deliberately chosen out of our free will. The day we want, we can disassociate from UN membership and the membership of Commonwealth. It will not affect our sovereignty. So this is external sovereignty. What is classic example of internal sovereignty? Huh? JNK. Article 370 of the Constitution को हमने overnight we passed the presidential order on 5th August 2019 early morning, and we extended all the provisions of Constitution to JK, and so Internal sovereignty means internally we can make any change, any change. So if somebody asks you in Europe why you abrogated Article 370 was actually ceases to be in operation, because we are an sovereign country and sovereignty means internal as well as external sovereignty. So we can take an internal decision also and we can take an external decision also. And we have also repealed India Independence Act and we have joined Commonwealth and what you call UN out of our free will. So sovereignty is diluted or it is pure. It is absolutely pure. And one thing which question was asked, we'll see again in Article 3. Supreme Court says sovereignty means taking a country into or an area into India. It also means if we want to give some area, we can give. So if we want to give 111 enclaves to Bangladesh, ये भी sovereignty है. हम चाहें तो अपना area दे सकते हैं. If we want, giving away the land is also a part of sovereignty. Sovereignty is not restricted. And where does the final sovereignty lies? People of India. So please write sovereignty. You have already written and write. It implies लिख दें, neither dominion nor dependency. It implies, IMPLIES. ठीक है? क्यों ये दुश्वारी आती है? Why this problem is there? Just because of one thing. You don't read newspapers. Okay. It implies neither dependency nor, कोई बात एक ही है, neither dominion nor either coffee or tea or the tea or एक, मैं वहां मिस्टर इंडिया की घड़ी पहन के रहूंगा. You have to take a decision on your own. Okay. It implies neither dominion nor dependency but an independent state. I want you to be independent, not like this. It implies neither dominion nor dependency but an independent state. Okay? Full stop. Next you write, sovereignty has both the dimensions. Sovereignty has both the dimensions. Sovereignty has both the dimensions. That is I.E, that is internal sovereignty and external sovereignty. Internal sovereignty and external sovereignty. Okay, full stop. Next you write internal sovereignty and external sovereignty. By external sovereignty, we have an independent foreign. By external sovereignty, we have an independent foreign. By external sovereignty, we have an independent foreign policy. जिससे मन दोस्ती करेंगे, तुम्हारे कहने पे दोस्ती नहीं करेंगे. We will be having friendship with the country we want. Nobody can pressurize us to be friends or to be enemy. So, by external sovereignty, we will have an independent foreign policy, or we can acquire a territory or cede a territory. Or we can acquire a territory or CED, मतलब देना, to give. Or we can acquire a territory or cede a territory. CEDE. C for Calcutta, E for England, D for donkey, and E for England. Okay. So, by external sovereignty, we can acquire a territory or cede a territory. And by internal sovereignty, if it is fast, please let me know. And by internal sovereignty, ठीक है, फास्ट है भाई, बहुत डर लग रहा है, 2-4 मेल कर ही देगा मेरे सर, बहुत फास्ट था. ओके, सो गेटिंग माय पॉइंट. सो बिकॉज आई हैव टू डील विथ everyone. Okay, so in principle of equity and equality both. By internal sovereignty, we will be independent in all our internal decisions. We'll be independent in all our internal decisions. Okay? The joining of Commonwealth and United Nations, the joining of Commonwealth and United Nations, the joining of Commonwealth and United Nations does not dilute sovereignty. The joining of United Nations and Commonwealth doesn't dilute sovereignty. Doesn't dilute sovereignty. But doesn't dilute sovereignty, but is out of free will. But is out of free will. But is out of free will, which can be disassociated. But is out of free will, which can be disassociated. But is out of free will, which can be disassociated anytime. Which can be. So what is sovereignty? Sovereignty, where does the final sovereignty lies? We have already written, with the people. Sovereignty has internal dimension. Example, article 370, jab man kiya, we cease that to be in operation by a presidential order. External sovereignty, we can join foreign policy, we can have an independent foreign policy, join Commonwealth or not join. External sovereignty and internal sovereignty. Is India a sovereign state? Okay. And also that we have repealed India Independence Act 1935. Have we written that? Ye point likhiye. Article 395 of the Constitution. Article 395 of the Constitution. Article 395 of the Constitution repealed India Independence Act 1947. Article 395 of the Constitution repealed. Repealed की spelling देखिए यहाँ. Repealed. Okay. Okay. 498 पे है. So repealed India Independence Act 1947 to remove any doubt repealed India Independence Act 1947 to remove any doubt related to independence. Related to independence. Okay. ठीक है? So sovereignty पे whatever possibility is there, is India a sovereign state? Yes. Externally sovereign, internally sovereign, free to choose a foreign policy. Is Indian independence a result of a foreign law? No longer. No longer, because India Independence Act 1945 was actually 47 was repealed by the Constitution of India. Okay, so I can do. You got the mail? Huh? Huh? About the extension of class? Huh? You didn't get the mail. Oh, I'm just kidding. No such mail was sent. Okay, so don't worry, but yaar padhai se mazak nahi. Just briefly we'll go into socialism. Is such an interesting thing. You will understand so many things. Just write sovereign ke baad socialist. Bas briefly. We'll see how can we acquire a foreign territory. We will see this in Article 3, Ray Berubari Union case. अभी आएगा इसके बाद Article 1, 2 and 3. We will see that in Article 3 all the cases. How can we acquire a foreign territory? 51 enclaves they gave and 111 enclaves we gave. So we can acquire by a constitution. Parliament may by law admit into union by an ordinary law. But when you're giving a territory, you need a constitutional amendment. This was ruled by, opinionated by Supreme Court in Berubari Union case. If I open that, just after this, we'll have Article 1, 2 and 3. Just after the preamble. Okay, so socialism. Okay, First of all, this question has been asked in Civil Services Examination 2021, 10th October. Okay, key the term socialist, what was the exact status of India on 26 January 1950? Okay, so this question has been asked last year only, and UPSC at times has a tendency to repeat something related to a question that was asked previous year to remind you that you have to go through previous year's question paper. Example, they asked the question, which all places are associated with the lives of Gautam Buddha in 2013. Same question in verbatim was asked in 2014. Same. Many people got it wrong both year. Okay. So then they asked the question in 2017, who is the chairman of Civil Services Board? Cabinet Secretary is the chairman. Next year they asked Chief Secretary. So options of previous year can be a question of next year, so that an intelligent mind goes through previous year's question paper and doesn't go through all the other papers before. That is also important, but before that, the most basic is previous year's question paper. You must buy that. The term socialist was added through 42nd amendment. ये term socialist नहीं था constitution में, लेकिन without being there, the idea of socialism was there in Constitution, Article 38, welfare state, every article we will see. Actually, I can sense a very serious revolution coming. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay, ठीक है, bye. Have a wonderful evening. We have a question. We'll continue the discussion on preamble and Article 1, 2, 3. Every article we will see on the board. Constitution, every article. ठीक है.